Good evening, everybody. I hope that you are all ready for a day of festivities and fun, because I'm about to eat my PC out of sheer frustration. What fun. I hope you're all right out there. I hope you're all ready for an evening of fluffy fun. Oh, God, I'm feeling punchy tonight. Jesus
Was that
Christ, I'm feeling
open?
punchy. Oh, no, this is me just... This is me just getting... venting my shit, because yeah, it's been a day. It's been a day.
Oh no!
I've got a 3-year-old with horrific chronic diarrhea who couldn't leave the house because of it, and so we've been in the house all days. We've both been going stir crazy. Then when I finally got him into bed and he was all chilled out and everything, he then shouts out, "Daddy, there's a spider in my room."
Diarrhea
I come upstairs,
and spiders.
And he's out of bed and he's looking at the spider, just poking it with his finger, like, "Look, Daddy, spider." And he wouldn't sit back down because he wanted to look around the room to find if there's any other spiders.
Oh my God, that is it's the worst of all possible combinations, isn't it, really?
You need that nap time spray to just spray into a little handkerchief and just knock him out, and then you put him to bed.
No, if you've got some nap time spray, I'll just start drinking it by the fucking gallon. Anyhow, I hope you're all ready, ladies and gentlemen, for here comes the cold open, as we always expect. I walk the earth, just as they planned, baptized in fire for my ancient land. The coming curse, your Antichrist, I am the Watcher's Eye. I vindicate and cleanse the earth of all mankind. For many years I've walked among you, through the folds of time and space. Kingdoms fall, leaders die, as I see fit. I devour souls of those that pose a threat. I walk the earth, another day, the wicked one that comes this way. Savior to my own, devil to some, mankind falls, something wicked comes. And that would be episode 110 of the Fluffenhammer. Go!
Yay! That was very poetic for the 110th episode. I rather liked that.
See, I'm more of a milk lemonade round the corner fudges made kind of guy.
I had you down more as a limerick guy, to be honest, Andy.
No, that requires a bit more thought and intelligence. I know poo-poo and I know pee-pee. That works. I know where they both come from generally.
So, really not into like the romantics or the beat poets or anything like that.
I think you can be romantic with urine and poo, but it just needs to be the right situation, right?
You can be romantic with urine and poo.
Yeah.
My God, there's a sentence that I wish I'd known was going to come up beforehand, so I could use that as the title.
Well, it's already gotten kind of fecal already, hasn't it? So
you're married with a kid. You have to deal with this yourself, right?
That's true. That's true.
You have no idea. I did not. I always knew when I knew Joseph was on the way that I was going to deal with a lot of poo and a lot of wee. Mm-hmm. What I didn't realize was that potty training is the devil's own arse pit, and I think I need an exorcist. I don't understand how I shit, to be honest with you, because
the power of Christ compels you.
The power of Christ will get you to sit on your goddamn potty for longer than 30 seconds.
I need an old priest and a young priest.
You need to get him into reading newspapers, so he stays there longer.
Oh God, no! You definitely don't.
what I've got him into is watching stop motion on YouTube.
Okay.
Because they're about 5 to 6 minutes long, and it's just about the right amount of time for him to sit there and realize he needs to go. The downside to it is that he started watching the 52 Toys Beast Box stop motion, and he loves them, which means I have had to buy a Beast Box toy.
Oh my God!
They're not cheap either.
Is this
actually, I found one on sale for AliExpress for $3.75.
Oh, so not a real one, right? Is it a real one?
No, it's a real one. It's just tiny. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's not so bad. But as always, I'm Adam. Over there is Andy.
Ah!
And over there, summoned within the pentagram of pentacles, is George.
Hello. You don't really want something that's summoned to do that, do you? You'd be disappointed if it was like, "Hi, how you doing?" It's a bit like that demon in Witches Abroad, right?
Yeah.
It starts out all sort of like, traditionally demonic and who dares to summon me, and then actually gets really fey about it all towards the end.
There's a series of books about a demon who takes the form of a gargoyle. And he gets summoned into the magic circle, and he just sits there going, nah, you've done it all wrong, mate. Nah, you see, because you've done it all wrong, I don't have to do anything you have to say. So I can sit here for as long as you want.
Brilliant.
Nah, man, you've got it all wrong. You've got it all wrong.
I mean, really, that's another thing you desperately don't want a demon to say. You want to have gotten it right.
Well, thankfully, this one's... I don't think what it's called. It's by the guy who wrote Lockwood and Co. I can't think.
It's not the Mything Omnibus or anything like that, is it?
No. It's definitely a Jonathan Stroud book. But I can't remember.
No, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. If you're interested in quite a fun little series about a demon, it's by Jonathan Stroud. Go look it up. You'll be able to find it. Also, read Lockwood and Co. The Netflix series, though decent, completely missed out every single part of my favorite parts.
Oh no.
I quite enjoyed the series for what it did, but like you're getting up to something like, yes, rat ghost, and you've just bypassed the entire rat ghost.
Oh no.
Did they hint at a rat ghost?
Nope, they've cut that entire bit of the story out.
Oh.
Red room. Oh no, okay, you've just gone past the red room. Oh, for God's sake. These are all parts of the story which really freaked me out. It's like the red room is it's a ghost in itself, so the entire room is haunted.
Right.
But instead of there being specters and ghosts, it takes the form of blood in the ceiling.
Oh.
And it just spans out, and the blood follows whoever's in the room in order to get to them.
That sounds kind of fun.
And it locks the door, and you're just like running around. And they're saying that the last time somebody was in here, they were found in the fetal position, and they were unable to unclench her body after death because she was so scared. Man, that's like fucking hell.
Oh, that is cool. Cool concept.
Yeah. Honestly, Lockwood and Co. Great books. There's a section in a haunted shopping mall, and it's just nope. Don't want to ever deal with that again. Anyhow, to get on topic and to get onto things, Andy. Let's start with you.
All right.
Right. What have you been up to since last we spoke? These 3 weeks past.
Has it been 3 weeks?
Has it really been that long?
Well, 2.5.
Oof.
Wow.
If I'd said it in that tone, what have you been up to? Hence these 2.5 weeks.
It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it?
It doesn't.
We're talking GW wise?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
Well, just, you didn't know, no hobby at all.
Well, not GW wise. The only thing I've been doing is like making scenery and terrain for potentially getting back into doing YouTube videos and using styrofoam and toilet paper and PVC glue and all that jazz. And
a hot knife.
And a hot knife. I got a hot knife specially for it, which is interesting to use. I'm not sure if it was super needed. I probably could. I think it's taken less time to do with a hot knife, but it's probably something I could have done without. But they're not too expensive, so it's not too bad. No. I've got the bottom part kind of done. I'm just kind of working on the background now. So the ground's finished. It's just a background. I'll need to get some glue specifically to stick polystyrene together. Because it's...
yes, because otherwise it melts, doesn't it?
It either melts or it doesn't stick. It's really faffy. Apparently you need silicone-based adhesive.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Although you've got to be careful with that too. There is some silicone-based glue that will literally just melt
Yeah,
polystyrene into a puddle.
I was looking on YouTube, and there's a Stix all STRIX, and then all is one word. Apparently, that does the job. I
That's
just need to
alright,
get
yeah.
some. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm telling you now, that's Skeletor's nephew.
Stix.
I am Stixar. No. Oh no. He's come to visit again.
Skeletor did have a son. It was written. He had a mohawk.
That's true.
Yeah,
and I've
I
seen
can't
the
remember
character
what it's
design.
called though.
More Hork.
More Hawk, less Hawk.
That's presumably with Evil Lyn, yeah?
I can't remember who they said. Probably though.
Like,
Yeah, it was.
I'm going to infer that
Yeah.
it probably was.
If I remember right for the Studio Bible, if Jai hears this, he'll probably tell me off for getting it wrong. But if memory serves me right, the series Bible would have been that Skeletor didn't really appear, but Evil Lyn did as like a guiding force for the sun.
Oh,
and then
right.
it was He-Man's son, and it was Hero was meant to be in there as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was. Well, considering the fact that what we actually got instead was the New Adventures of He-Man, a series that I still don't know if it's any good or not. I just look at it and go, I think you're shit.
It's
I'm not
pretty
sure.
90s. The writing's very, very 90s. It's quite flat. I'm sure there's some good episodes in there, but I watched the pilot and like a few episodes after, and it really didn't hold my interest too much.
This is the 1990s show, yeah?
The New Adventures, where he goes to the future.
Garbage. I remember liking it as a kid, but that may have been because like big flashy ships and magic and lasers and whatnot. It sucks. It sucks hard. It doesn't even have like the unspoken campiness of the original He-Man, which makes it so fun. It doesn't even have that. It's just so Andy's right. It's really 90s.
Yeah.
It's really it's like encapsulated 90s frictionless toy catalog garbage, you know?
I would say it's not that it encapsulates the 90s. It encapsulates 1990. Like the year 1990. It's an absolute pinnacle of 1990 with that French anime style of design and animation, and the way that the lines are delivered. It is like
it's so like over earnest, you know, and it's like and the stories are crap. They're really badly written. It is that kind of it's that kind of cartoon show where they looked at shows from the 1980s, you know, which all very often have sort of stock episodes. You know, there's always an episode where the characters shrink. There's always an episode where they're sent back into the past. There's always an episode where there's like a freeze ray or something like that, where the good guys turn evil or the bad guys turn good. There's always those stock episodes, and they just rehash them, you know, in the flattest, most boring way imaginable.
Did you ever hear about the Bruce Timm and Paul Paul, the writers of Batman the Animated Series, anyhow, the writer and the designer? They went into a meeting, and they were asked why there wasn't any of those episodes. You know, it's, well, we've got all these scripts that we can just change the bits around. It's really cheap. And apparently Paul Dini just stood up, walked out, went, nope. This meeting is over because you're being ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a thing you really notice if you go back to those cartoons as an adult. The cartoons from like the 1980s, early 1990s, they are so very often, not universally, but very often they're so generic.
It's every episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That's what it is. Every episode of that season is one of those stock episodes where they've just changed the names around.
I think the one I really noticed for me was when I went back to Thundercats.
Yeah.
It like just exemplifies it. It absolutely exemplifies it. Certainly the first season. There's like nothing original. Barring the aesthetics, there's nothing original.
See, I only ever watched like the first few parter, whatever that intro was, and then I never saw anything else, and then I came back later. And I tried it because everyone was like, "Oh, it's got really good continuity and it's got all this good stuff." And I was like, I came back and I watched it and I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. It's not. It's a flat 90s show." The intro's good though.
Yeah, the intro's great. The intro's absolutely superb.
There's two good things about Thundercats. One is the intro.
Oh yeah.
The second is the Groon the Destroyer episode, because whoever the hell came up with that thing decided, well, we're going to just write a horror.
Yeah.
We terrify kids.
There are things to really like. I mean, I think like the setting is great. Third Earth is a great setting, but they don't do anything with it. They do absolutely nothing with it. Some of the backgrounds are gorgeously rendered. If you actually, in some of the episodes, the backgrounds are all painted and they're beautiful. Mum-Ra is a great villain. Conceptually and aesthetically, but again, they don't do anything with him. He's just a bumbling foil. It's like it's so sad. There's a lot of wasted opportunity there.
It becomes much more flat as well when he gets Marmot. I'm like, he has the Dr. Claw cat, doesn't he? It's like, come on.
I was back in the Oral House days. We all hit upon the idea that the entire point of Mum-Ra and the Thundercats is it's an old man shouting at kids to get off his lawn.
Pretty much, isn't it? It's like on a galactic scale, but it's pretty much that, yeah.
And then when they went back to it and redid it in a absolutely fantastic, truly brilliant sci-fi show, it just got absolutely reamed and taken off the air.
It's a real shame. It's a real shame.
George, have you been up to any hobby?
Not in terms of miniature creation. I've been rather too busy. In fact, if you look behind me, you can see the normal bookshelves are absolutely empty at the moment. That's because I've got to pack everything up because my place is being renovated. But I have got. It was my birthday recently, and
Happy birthday, George!
Thank you very much. I managed to get Mortari on.
Yay!
I'm going to put him together and paint him up, probably as a reward, for after all of this is done. So yeah, I got him. I've been doing a lot of reading lately. Still reading, rereading The Infinite and the Divine, which it's just brilliant. It's everything you've heard about that book is true.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic.
I have not made up or embellished a single thing about that book whenever I've spoken about it. It's a masterpiece.
It really is. It's as absurd as you've heard, deliberately. It's a comic masterpiece. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Who would have ever thought Necrons could be this expressive? Right? I just love it. I love the fact that Orican even points out at one point that Necrons don't smile. They have death masks, right? And Trazin's death mask is deliberately designed to look like it's smiling. It's like so brilliant. It's so brilliant. And the way they subtweet one another, that's my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing. I love that. It just makes me smile always. I like it better when they're getting on. You know? I don't know why. I like it towards sort of like the middle of the book. There's a sequence where basically they are forced. They're told to get along. They literally forced to get along under threat of worse than death. And they kind of have to. And they do have moments, don't they? I mean, there's a moment where Orican very reluctantly he acknowledges that maybe the reason he hasn't killed Trazin yet, because he kind of has the power to do so, is that he likes dealing with a guy on his own level, a guy who is at least as intelligent as he is. That's cool, right? That's really cool. I like that. There's a lot of character development here for these two, and I like it. I like it a lot.
The two things I think I like most about that book is Trazin's practical joke and all of its ramifications.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. And just how much you can get into 2 words when those 2 words are, "You bastard!"
Yeah, they swear at one another a lot, don't they?
It's so good. I was happy every time we got a "You bastard!"
Yeah, they swear at one another a heck of a lot. What I like as well is I find myself sort of like slip sliding up and down in between them. Like I don't know who I'm rooting for, you know? Orican often is a complete prick in this, but then so is Trazin. You know, it's I don't know. Metaphysically, I'm kind of with Orican. You know, Orican's the one who wants to move things on. He's sort of like, you know what? we shouldn't be this. We shouldn't be this calcified, static race. We can evolve to be better than what biotransference has made us. We can be beings of energy and light and formulae. I kind of love that. I do kind of love that. On the other hand, I kind of love Trazyn too, because he wants to preserve things. He sees a bigger universe, right? And he has an appreciation for the other things in the universe too. I mean, you never would have thought it, but he kind of likes the other species in the universe. He has this kind of academic interest in them, like humanity.
They're interesting.
He really appreciates humanity in a way that Orican just couldn't give a fig about. You know, Orican is like, they're vermin. They're vermin, and that's it. Trazyn is like, oh, well, yeah, they may be, but they've actually spread across the universe, and their empire is kind of, it's getting to the point where it's older than ours was. So, let's see, right? You know, they have these brief flickering lives, and yet they've managed to infest every corner of creation.
They have these brief flickering lives, and yet they spend it ingesting ground up beans.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It is loads of fun. It is loads of fun. I love it when they're watching the plays together on that Imperial world. Trazyn knows Trazyn gets everything because he's really invested. He gets everything about these cultures, right? So he understands all the references and whatnot. And Orican just doesn't. Orican is like, so what is this? Is it a farce? I don't get it. And Trazyn's like, no, the farce is over there. And there is actually like a ridiculous sort of like slapstick farce play going on, you know, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's just the fact that Orican kind of starts getting into it. And it's like, no, this is not a play. This is an actual uprising. We have to leave now.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot. And I mean, the concept alone, the concept of taking one of the most dour, nihilistic races from the 40k universe that's meant to represent a very bleak form of horror and making them into a comedy pair, a comedy duo. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The use of time as a joke as well. That's brilliant because these guys, they're immortal. They literally spend millennia arguing in this book. And it's enormous fun. It's enormous fun. And there's even touching moments. There's that moment where Trazyn has got like a human helper. And he likes him. He does like him. They like one another. It's really strange. It's really strange and ambiguous and kind of wonderful. I love both of these characters as a result of this book. Both Trazyn and Orican are two of the best characters in 40k as a result of this book.
Oh, absolutely. And then if you, I'll just get it off the wall. And then on the other hand, you've got Rain and Ruin. Which, oh my god, that is some horrific horror.
That's on buy one get one free on Audible at the moment, which I need to use one of my little vouchers for at some point.
I would recommend getting Rain and Ruin.
I have to look at that.
Yeah, they are very, very, very good. There's a sequence in, I think it's in the first one, Ruin, where there's just a Necron and he's carving the deeds of each of his soldiers into their metal. And he's doing it to stop himself from going insane.
Yeah.
Which conjures up the question, isn't this a sign of insanity?
Yeah, well, that's the thing with the Necrons, isn't it? That's the fun of them. It's the fact that, like, biotransference is really imperfect. Like, really imperfect. It's something that Orican and Trazyn both acknowledge in this book, of course. Their whole race is slowly losing itself. It's slowly going insane. Because, like, you know, first of all, there's biotransference itself, which is massively imperfect. Then there's just time. There's just time. Time is eroding them over millennia.
It's not just that. They're a linear species originally. So extending a linear species mind to infinite is not going to be a good idea.
Unless
you have hobbies. Like if they got into Warhammer miniatures, it'd be fine.
well, like Trazyn, right?
Yeah, it's basically what he does. He's a hobbyist.
It's what he does, yeah. It's absolutely what he does. Oricon's whole shtick, I mean, I really like that. The fact that Oricon's whole shtick is we need to escape biotransference, not do what Zarek wants and go back to what we were, but to become more. We need to transcend. I mean, there's some great background in here as well. I loved the stuff about Oricon being one of the only voices that spoke up against biotransference and was dragged to the biotransference forges in chains and chucked in. That's awesome. That's awesome because he foresaw it, right? He's an oracle. That's what he does. So he foresaw what biotransference would mean. It's really cool, that stuff. I really want to see some of the other characters from the 40k universe engaging with these guys. I'd love to see, we've seen Fabius engaging with Trazyn, and that actually works out quite well. Ahriman and Oricon, I think they'd go together very well, because again, they're very similar.
I've told you about my idea for how to do an anthology series, haven't I? I don't know if I actually have mentioned it on the show or not.
I don't think you have, no.
It's just basically following a character like Ahriman, as he just goes around and does stuff and just has little conversations with other characters. So you have a short story of Ahriman and Oricon, or Ahriman and Trazyn, or Ahriman and a Hive Fleet.
That would be a short conversation.
But it's more to do with what would make it really interesting. It's more to do with how the two characters talk to each other. It's not a battle. It's not a war. They just have a very quiet little anthology of just one character just moving around and just seeing how the different people work off him. Because I think you could probably get, you could probably get like a good 10 books out of that, of just different characters taking the headline.
Well, that's often the most interesting stuff in these books. It's the character interactions, right? It's certainly the things I love, like in the Fabius books, for example. It's the internal monologues which are really interesting, but also the way Fabius talks to other characters. I mean, he has engagements with Drukhari, of course, with Homunculi, and that's fascinating. Harlequins at various points, even with Fulgrim in the final book. He has an actual conversation with Fulgrim at one point, and that's brilliant. That's really, really cool, right? The politics of the whole universe is just so interesting. And it's often most interesting when it's characters like Fabius or Oricon or Ahriman, when they're kind of removed from the strictures of, say, the Imperium. Because characters who operate within the purview of the Imperium tend to talk in a very similar way. They have very similar voices. Whereas outside of that, it just gets fascinating. I want to see more books with the Eldari, for example. I want to see way more books with the Eldari. I don't think they've ever been done properly in the fiction yet. The closest we've got, I think, is in the latest John French Ahriman book, where you've got the opening with the Harlequins. That is fantastic. Read that one yet. Oh God, the opening sequence with the Harlequin troop in that book is awesome. It really gets what the Harlequins are about. Not just the Eldari, but the Harlequins themselves. The fact that they are very different, even from other Eldari. So they regard the universe as a stage. And everyone in it as players. Everyone in it. And they manipulate others around them to fulfill the roles that they assign them. That's the whole shtick of the book. There's this Harlequin troop that's trying to manipulate Ahriman and his cabal to fulfill a particular mythic role in their cycles, and it's utterly brilliant. It's really good fun.
It's one that I need to get to. It's on my list. I will get there eventually.
It's very good. I need to review it, actually. I mean, I know I haven't yet. I really do need to get and review it, actually. I've also been reading The Arcs of Omen, Abaddon. This is a great series. It's the Broken Realms. It's the Broken Realms for 40k. Not as big. They're quite thin books. But what is here is actually excellent. They're really well written. Again, these really great, well written campaign books. This one is almost entirely from the perspective of Abaddon, and it explores kind of what he's been doing since Cadia, since Vigilus, what he's up to, the introduction of Vashtor into the universe, which is really cool, and the alliance between him and Abaddon, and the sort of apocalyptic plan that they're launching on. This is the beginning of it, and it's great fun, very well written. There's a sequence in it I really like where there's this planet that Vashtor is having difficulty cracking. Basically, he's besieging it, but he can't really get a foothold on it. And Abaddon basically says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And Vashtor is like, well, what do you mean don't worry about it? We need to get in there. There's something vital to our plans in there. And Angron just says one word, he says Angron. And Vashtor is like, oh, okay, fine. I need to sit and watch this. He basically uses Angron as a WMD. It's really good fun. He points him at planets that need cracking and just launches him at them. So yeah, I mean, it's a good book, and I'm really looking forward to the next one, which I've got on pre-order, which is of course Angron, and where it's going to go, because it does feel like this is building to the end of Ninth Ed. You know, this is going to be like the big ending that defines what the status quo going into 10th Ed is going to be. Yeah. And I hope, I really hope they do something with it, like they did with Broken Realms. I really hope that it is like a change to the status quo, because it feels like it should be.
Yeah.
It really feels like it should be. There's a lot going on here.
From what we've seen of the rumors that are circulating, and obviously taken with a pinch of salt, it looks like it's going to be a hell of a change to 40k.
Really feels like it. It feels like they're bringing it more in line with AOS, which is fine. It looks like one of the big imperatives is getting rid of some of the bloody rules bloat, getting rid of some of like the complexity, which is good. That can only be a good thing. There's so much. I mean, Ninth Ed I've really enjoyed, actually. I've really liked Ninth Ed. I think it has been the best version of the game. I really do. I think it's been the best version of the game thus far. But it does have a problem with there's books over here and there's books over there and there's divergent army lists over there. And even within the books, there's a divergent army list here and here and here and here. And there's all these stratagems on this page and there's all these relics on this page. It feels like what they're going to be doing going into 10th Ed is refining that down a bit. I mean, if they use 3rd Ed AOS as a basis, great.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, because that game system is fabulous.
Agreed.
It's absolutely brilliant. It's got all the character you could want, but also it's easy to use.
Yeah.
It's
very, very easy to learn. It's hard to master, as all good systems should be, but getting the basics down and just being able to play a game is... Yeah. Well,
so much easier.
Having the time to play a game is another game in itself.
Oh. Yes, of course. I'm really looking forward to 10th Ed. I mean, there's a couple of rumors floating around out there which have been very consistent, like across
Terminators versus Tyranids.
Terminators versus Tyranids. I think we can almost put that in the tick column. That sounds pretty certain at this point. There's a suggestion that the Tyranids are going to get like a massive overhaul for this.
Like the Necrons did, yeah.
Like the Necrons did, right?
Going to turn them back into what they used to be, i.e. visually interesting.
I sincerely doubt
Same, but they should. Stop being lame, GW. Bring back the cool hive tyrants, the warriors, and all that goobly gubs.
But they do need
biovores.
Gubbly,
yeah. But they do need to
salivate.
I tell you what I want. I want the old school Carnifex, but a plushie of it.
Oh, the screaming killer,
yeah. Because then it's got big old huggable, so you could just like strap it around a child as a like it's hugging you, but you die.
That's actually
how big would you want it?
Well, if it's gonna be like a plush for a kid, you'd want it like, let's say like 12 inches tall. That'd be a good like hug size.
I am sure that we could put that down as a Patreon goal.
In fact, a lot of the Tyranids that you guys from Second Ed that you guys really like, they had a huggy thing going on. If you remember the Lictor.
Yes. Yeah.
That Lictor was very huggy too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Are we saying that for all this time, Tyranids have been completely misjudged and all they want to do is hug you?
All they want is a hug. That sounds like Gene Stealer cult propaganda to me.
Well, that's the Beast of Nurgle right there, too. Beasts of Nurgle are very huggy.
To be fair, in the case of the Beasts of Nurgle, it's sincere. They actually do just want a hug, but it just doesn't work out very well.
They're just big dogs, unfortunately. They just don't know how big they are.
How big and how toxic.
Yeah.
Quite sad. Leprous dogs.
I do love the detail in their description that they get confused when their new playmates just keel over and stop moving. It's brilliant. It's utterly brilliant. I've been checking out a lot of the World Eaters stuff as well. Haven't got the book yet. Got it on pre-order. They look fascinating. I mean, they look brilliant. I can't wait to get the book. I cannot wait to get the book. They look really exciting. I've got to say, I'm really excited to see how they work and, what the background is, what they've done with the background. Watched loads of battle reports with them. And it's kind of clear to me that they've developed them as an entry-level army. Mm-hmm. They're very easy to put together. They're very easy to put to paint and to conceive an army of. Very refined army list, minimal units, so you don't have to think too hard about it. And by all accounts, they're really easy to use. The codex is apparently much refined compared to what's gone before.
So one of the interesting things about that is much like we saw with the Soulblight Lords. Mm-hmm. Is that the right name?
Soulblight Grave Lords.
That's the one, yeah. I knew I was missing a word there, but I couldn't think what the word was.
Vampire Counts.
Soulblight Stab Lords. This is what we're going to start seeing as the format of the codexes into the next edition.
I think that's probably it.
From what I've heard of the World Eaters codex, it is very, very good, very, very streamlined. And if that's the way it's going to be going forward, I'm going to be a very happy man.
Oh, it's fine. I mean,
brain does not have the. It's also really good. It means I can just leave the Leagues of Votann until September.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've loved all the Ninth Ed codices. I think they've been really, really good. But one of the issues with them is that they do present false choices. Like, there are choices that are fun, but you're probably not going to take them because there's better ones, right? So it sounds like what the World Eaters Codex has done is tried to prune away redundancy. Brilliant. False choice is not in the book. So there's only one page of bloody stratagems. Yes, there are only 2 divergent army lists in it. Fantastic. And from what I've seen of the rundowns of the codex, there is nothing redundant in it. So there's a reason to take anything and everything, which is like, oh, yes, wonderful. That is something that has bedeviled 40K since its inception. The notion that there are units that just don't do anything, that are not as good as others in the same slot, so there's no reason why you'd ever take them. Yeah. It sounds like they've gotten rid of that with this book, which is like, oh, yes. And having watched what Angron can do, it's like, wow. Wow. If he's used correctly, he can butcher like half of the opposing army. He's a beast. He's an absolute monster. And of course, you can get him back after he dies.
Yes. That's the thing. When I was looking at it, from what I understand, you can, if you can, keep your distance and just pepper him from afar, you can take him down. The downside to that is he gets back up again. It's like, well, shit.
Yeah. And of course, because of the way the army works, it's really clever, actually. It's really subtle. One of the massive problems the World Eaters have had since, like, Second Ed is that they've been operating in a meta that has favored shooting, that's favored long-range firepower, and has actually very often been really crap for assault-based armies. They've often suffered, really, right up until Ninth Ed. Ninth Ed quite likes assault armies. Yeah, absolutely. Orcs. Certain versions of Tyranid armies have really suffered. But what they've done with this army is that they've very subtly altered the psychology of it. So your units are getting shot off the table. So what? You're getting blood tithe points. So the units that still exist are getting better and better and better. And those blood tithe benefits, some of them are borderline broken. They're borderline abusive, and they stack up. That's the thing. They last for the entire game. You know, so some of them are really, really, really nasty. So psychologically, you're not that as bothered as you would have been before as your units are getting shot off the table. In fact, some of them, you almost set them up for that. You know,
that's what the jackals are there for, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of what they're there for, you know, to build up the blood tithe.
Murdered. Yeah, get the jackals murdered, build up the blood tithe, and then Khan the Betrayer can distend his jaw and eat an entire opponent.
Exactly that. Exactly that. It sounds like a really interesting synergistic army, and yeah, I'm kind of into it. You know. I've been looking at like what are hard counters for them, and interestingly, I don't know whether it's because of the way they emphasize extremes by their very nature, but the hard counters for them are the other Chaos Cult legions. Thousand Sons, that's going to be a bloody battle. That's going to be a really bloody battle because the Thousand Sons have got the firepower and the psychic powers to really do them harm, to really do them damage. Death Guard are a defensive army, which the World Eaters very much are not. So you get the hammer and anvil thing happening. When the World Eaters hit, the Death Guard don't move. So you just get this incredible like battle occurring. It's very, very interesting.
It is. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this is all going to pan out. But
yeah, me too.
We shall quickly move on. As myself, I've been painting ogroids for my Chosen of Hashut. And slowly but surely, I actually did a little play around with the army builder. I actually have a complete army.
Wow!
Everything I've got now, I can take on the table.
Nice.
That's brilliant.
2,000 points I've accidentally built. It's like, oh, okay then. So,
fantastic. Is this using the Slaves to Darkness book?
Yeah. So 2,000 points, which is a bit of an annoyance because I really wanted to get another Thermitage, but with wings. I also wanted to get another Ogroid Lord, and then cut his legs off, put the legs on like a Karnak or something like that, and just have like a big centaur dude as the army general.
That's a great idea.
And I want to get a Demon Lord, so this is going to be the 3,000 point army. The problem is I've got Be'lakor in there. And,
costly, yeah.
That really drives the points up. So
yeah.
That's okay. Outside of that, I haven't really done much else because I got Sonic Frontiers. I've been playing that. And it's very, 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 very good.
Oh, you've enjoyed Sonic Frontiers, yeah?
Loved it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It plays like how you think Sonic Adventure played.
Right, but did not.
Yeah, it plays how your memory tells you Sonic Adventure played. In all honesty, there have been sequences in that game where I haven't stopped moving. Like, just playing your Sonic, you haven't stopped moving for 9-10 minutes. Like, the entire time, you are constantly keeping your momentum.
Which is the game. From a Sonic game, right?
Absolutely, you have to keep your momentum up. And it's all the momentum effects are good. They are. I think the cyberspace levels are a bit. They're there, and that's fine. But the rest of the game, brilliant. And the supersonic bits are fucking astonishing.
So, like as 3D Sonic games go, probably the best.
Easily the best.
Yeah. The bar's not high for that.
That's to be 100% fair. The bar is low on that one, but.
Well, you know how in Sonic games, when you get the Supersonic at the end of the game, it's just like, here we go, and now we've got a big, basically, quick time event battle. And it's been that way for a long, long time now.
A long time.
Whilst this is still that kind of, it's interspersed with action sequences, a amazing soundtrack, and a real sense of power. And this is what really blew me away about it. So, for example, the thing I fought, if I had a big breath laser, So you could duck out the way, or you could drive straight into the laser and just start battering out the way, basically pushing the laser back and then just frying the creature with its own laser. And it's like, holy shit, I have never felt this good at Supersonic before. All he needs the swirly eyes, It's like,
So you want to play the evil version, of the STC version, yeah?
Little bit of column B. And the other thing I've been doing, this from over here, quite large, is I've started building for Joseph a Sonic the Hedgehog playset.
Oh, superb.
It's out of just bits and bobs that we found around the house. He told me what shapes he wanted. That's all it is. So that has taken a lot of time so far.
What are you making it out of?
It's cardboard boxes, yogurt tins,
what goes around, yeah.
Cocktail sticks, It's just all these bits and bobs.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
So once that's, of course, today he just went, needs a high chair. Why does it need a high chair? For Egg the Chow.
Of course.
You're absolutely correct. It needs a high chair for Egg the Chow. Of course.
Obviously.
Right, so speaking of things that bamboozle and confuse me, shall we get into some various bits of story?
Yeah.
Let's get the big one out the way. Pricing update coming.
No.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course.
6%. What is changing? The prices of plastic miniatures, Forge World and Citadel resin miniatures, standard and Artificer Citadel brushes, spray paints. Now the stuff that no one else is reporting on. What's not changing? Starter sets, paint pots, Citadel tools, codexes, rulebooks, battle tomes, synthetic STC brushes.
Okie dokes. Fair enough.
Yeah, we're in the middle
but the majority of the stuff that people are buying is changing.
Yeah. But it's also not going up by 12%. It's only going up by 6%.
So well, no, because they're ahead of the curve. GW's been ahead of the curve in increasing the prices for years. So when it only goes up by 6%, it's because it's been up 6% previously and way higher than that before. So when they're like, oh, it's not that big of an increase, it's like, yeah, because you've increased your prices so much previously that it just doesn't seem as bad now.
It doesn't seem like
it.
Yeah.
Right? That's not crazy for me to say, right?
No. I see where you're coming from.
It's fair. It's definitely fair.
There was an interesting conversation that happened on the Discord earlier on this week, before this price increase came out, actually. And it was the breakdown of how much it costs to Warhammer, basically. Mm-hmm. And what we all kind of came to the conclusion of was, whilst we would prefer it was cheaper, it isn't actually that overpriced for what you get. I mean, yes, it's an expensive, but it's a hobby. It is a hobby.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, you compare it to something like Airsoft, or I don't know. What do other people do as hobbies? I can't remember.
Shouldn't you compare it to like the competition, like Soulgrave and stuff like that?
Say again, sorry.
Shouldn't you compare it to comparative things like Soulgrave or whatever it's called?
Frostgrave.
Frostgrave and other miniature things. What the price is like in comparison to those ones? Is it similar? Is it better? Is it worse? I mean, I don't know. You know more about Frostgrave than me.
Yeah, Frostgrave's a bit cheaper, but it's also built to be a bit cheaper, if that makes sense. So, for example, if you're buying a box set, it is kind of like you're buying an old-fashioned multi-part kit from GW.
Right.
So, the miniatures are smaller, they are...
have
there's less variation, but that's not to say that the stuff you get in Frostgrave isn't great, because it fucking is. I love Frostgrave. But you compare it to something that came out for Age of Sigmar, one of the new box sets that came out for Age of Sigmar. It's not really comparable. It's one of those things. There's a reason that GW is known to be the top dog. But you put it up against War Machine or Hordes, and it's pretty much the same price.
Oh, what about Star Wars? Because Star Wars is a big contender at the moment, isn't it? The Battlegrounds front thingy?
Yeah, front hat.
I don't know what it's called.
Trousers,
Marvel too. Oh, where's Big Swing and D? Big Swing and D
cool.
could compare things in the chat, couldn't he? Because doesn't Big Swing and D do Marvel? Or is that just Christoph? I can't remember.
I know Christopher does. I don't know Big Swinging D does. Big Swinging D, please tell us in the chat. I know that Big Swinging D likes to play some Big Swinging BattleTech.
Yeah. Oh yeah, BattleTech too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine BattleTech's cheaper because I don't think you need to buy quite as many miniatures.
No. Adam White in the chat says they predicted inflation better than any government.
It's absolutely right. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Wouldn't it be ironic to get like a Games Workshop-based government eventually? They probably do it better than anyone that's been in, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I would be willing to try that at the moment.
What if it was Brian Ansell? What if Brian Ansell decided to become president and he decided to grow back into Brian Ansell?
No. Emperor, obviously.
Emperor Ansell.
Right?
Yeah. Although I would vote for Andy Chambers.
War Master, maybe? No, that doesn't have the right ring. You don't want the leader of your country being called a War Master, do you?
No. This is, there's jokes I could make here, which I'm going to just leave alone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this is happening. It is shit in a time when everything's getting more expensive, but there's a reason prices of stuff go up. It's because everything gets more expensive. And it's just shite at the moment, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's instead jump into some vampires.
Oh yeah.
Because there is a couple of community posts this week which have all been about vampires and vampiric things. And one of the cool ones I saw, which I'll be quite fun to talk about, is that they did a little list of vampires in the mortal realms. And I quite like
they were naughty, weren't they? They were very naughty with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes. This was. I wonder what they're sort of suggesting here.
If I'm going to wish for a spoiler alert at the end of this talk.
Yeah, it's probably wise.
Yeah, because I think it's been enough time, and I'm going to just drop it. So yeah, they talk about the Hollow King, which is a really quite a really good book. I really enjoyed that one. It's a really nice miniature. I quite like that at all. The Mother of Nightmares, which also really good book, and that miniature is fucking gorgeous. It is just astonishingly good. And then it just brings up some other little vampires here. Neferata, Ulrika
Ulrika Johnson from Gladiators.
yes. She was turned into a vampire by Wolf.
Oh, damn. Has this vampire been through as many men as Ulrika Johnson on Gladiators?
Been through more men than dysentery.
Damn! That's a lot. Good for her.
I'd make her a Lamian vampire then, presumably.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've just realised that I really should have made a Cursed City joke when I said that she was turned by Wolf.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh. Screwed myself over there.
Who's the last one?
So yeah,
I don't recognize her.
Genevieve.
Oh,
that's
Genevieve.
She's back.
Genevieve. Apparently, well they're being very coy. They're being very coy about it.
Because that's not why I imagine Genevieve looked like. I would imagine Genevieve would look more like the one in the middle than the one on the end.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Genevieve's the one in the middle.
Oh, Genevieve is the one in the middle.
That makes more sense.
Ulrika's the one at the end. Yeah,
sorry. Okay.
They've written the list out to a different order to the picture.
Lame.
Because why would you make it easy for me? Fine. So, yeah, Ulrika, obviously, who knows? Anything's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Genevieve, I'm just going to freaking throw this out there now. You've all had a year and a half, if not 2 years now, to get this book. Mm-hmm. Gothgo Hollow is a direct sequel to Dragonfels.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as in Little bit. I'm talking. There is a direct fucking line from Drakenfels to Silver Nails to Genevieve Undead to Gothgul Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
It is a continuation of that freaking series, and it is astonishing. And the payoff that you get of having Genevieve turn up in the Mortal Realms is amazing.
It's interesting. I wonder if for like the Soulblight Gravelords in Third Ed, if we're going to get a mini of her, if she's actually going to be like a character.
I would be so happy. So happy.
They're certainly pushing her, aren't they? I mean, normally if there's not going to be a miniature or a version of her in the game, they wouldn't really be doing this. You know?
No. And that's the thing. Warhammer Community this year is doing a lot of looking back on its own history. So possibly that's what they're doing here. Quite possibly. But the fact that she's in the she's like actually back in the Mortal Realms.
She's actually around, yeah. She's actually active in the Mortal Realms. That's really interesting. It kind of lifts the lid on a lot of other things as well, doesn't it? I mean, what they've done is given, like, Nagash now kind of has license to bring back almost anyone.
Yes. Yeah. And what's really fun is that she is running. She's come back. She spends most of the book as a ghost. That's the interesting part. She has to like reform herself through sheer will and blood to reappear.
It's kind of similar to what Nagash did with Zigfold, isn't it?
Yes, very
How
much so.
How him back, you know.
And she is basically running forward, going, "It's coming. The biggest evil you've ever seen is coming." And that's the entire point of Gothgul Hollow, that evil is gathering because something massive is coming. I wonder what that's going to be.
Yeah, you think it's going to be Drakenfels, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, whether it's Drakenfels by name, I don't know, but that's what it is, isn't it?
Interesting.
Why else would you bring Genevieve back in?
Yeah, I mean, like, Genevieve is so tied to that storyline, right?
Well, I mean, it means that they've come to some kind of agreement with Kim Newman. Because Kim Newman took Genevieve with him, didn't he, when he went off to write Anno Dracula?
That's right. So, oh God, could you possibly get him back writing Warhammer fiction? Bloody hell!
I want that so badly.
Wow, that would be very interesting. That would be very. I might ask him. Just go and ask him on Facebook.
The Kim Newman who now writes things like the Bloody Red Baron and what's that one about Dracula in the 60s?
Oh yeah.
I can't think what it's called.
Saturday Night Funk.
I mean, that's a much more powerful Kim Newman that's writing this stuff than when he was writing Drakenfels. Whilst Drakenfels is one of my favorite books of all time, he's evolved into an incredible author. So it's like, please God, bring him back. Just give me one more Kim Newman story. Just one more. Just come, one more, man. Just one more.
Considering a lot of the really sort of original OG writers for Games Workshop have come back.
Mm-hmm.
It's not outside the realms of possibility at all.
No. Just a shame that Bill King's retired, because I would love to see what Bill King did with the Mortal Realms.
Yeah, wow.
Just go absolutely hell for leather.
Not like he can do another Gotrek book either, since he's back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I kind of would like to see King just take a run at something else.
No,
because Gotrek's moved from like so many hands now that, as much as it would be nice to have him back with Bill King, I would like to see what Bill King just did. Just here, run riot.
Oh, Skaven book. I think we talked about this ages ago, didn't we? Give him back a Skaven book, so the Skaven can do something.
Yeah, perfect. Just Bill King writes Stankwall. That makes me happy. Yeah. Yeah, it's the story of what Stankwall did in his dungeon for umpteen millennia. He was sitting outside of reality. It's just the best thing in the world. He's got plucked up at the end times by the Horned Rat and thrown in a dungeon made of stars.
Like a dungeon dimension, yeah.
Brilliance.
Utter brilliance.
And then moving on, another little fun thing that Warhammer community's been doing. They've been doing the 40 years of Warhammer.
Yeah, that's been really fascinating.
I mean, obviously, the one that I've sent now is number 5, the Chaos Renegade, just because it's a really fun thing to look at.
Oh my god!
I loved seeing Grom the Paunch again.
Yes, that was wonderful. My god, I remember seeing him like when I first got into the hobby. You know.
Well, you would have done. He would have been on a cardboard cutout that got stuck to his face.
God.
Do you remember that, folks? Grom the Paunch and a Orc catapult. It was on the other side. It was an elf riding a griffin and was it a bolt thrower?
Oh my god! Yeah, the cardboard things that you got with like the box sets. Bloody hell! But wow, I'm just taking a look at that Chaos Renegade now. You know what I really love? They've kind of gone back and they've taken a lot of design cues from those original miniatures for the latest range of Chaos Space Marines. And I'm really pleased about that because there was a period when they became very anodyne. They just became kind of like Marines with the big backpacks and trimming.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Well,
it's kind of like
there was spiky Marines.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, okay, you know, there's space for that. There's definitely space for that in the Chaos Space Marines, but you know, for my personal aesthetic, I love these old ones that have the mutations and the warp twisted armor and the flesh and the biomechanisms and whatnot. And they've really gone back to that with the latest range, and I'm very, very happy about it.
It's, you know how they keep like doing miniatures based on Mark Gibbons' work?
Yes.
I'm hoping that at some point they're going to go back and start doing stuff based on Tony Ackland's work. Now, Tony Ackland, anybody who doesn't know, he was one of the guys who worked alongside Miller and Blanche for the Realms of Chaos books.
Yes.
If you think of Chaos Marines of this time, chances are you're thinking of an Ackland picture. And that's the thing. That's like, can you imagine modern day miniatures based with that aesthetic?
Yes, and now they could do it. That's the thing. Now they have the technology to do it, you know? So, wow, my goodness, that would be wonderful.
It really would. And, you know, Warhammer Games Workshop at the moment really seems to be looking back on itself to see what it can do, where it can get things out. And, I mean, if like the Warhammer Plus miniature next year was like one of these guys, I would be over the moon.
So good. But yes, I'd be well up for that. Well up for that.
So, Andy, any thoughts on the Chaos Renegade?
No, I like him. It's a nice blast from the past.
When you go down a little bit, there's just a guy that looks like Bane entered 40k and forgot his trousers.
The Obliterator, you mean?
Yeah.
Is that him? Yeah.
Yeah.
The big Obliterator guy. Yes, I like him. That's a lovely kit as well. I'm telling you, there's so much stuff on that sprue. It's unbelievable to customize those guys. And they're brilliant in the game now. Obliterators, they are. You want them in your Chaos Space Marine army. You want them.
They are definitely needed. Okay, then moving on. Another little fun one here.
Is this the one about how to say different things?
How to pronounce different words? Did anybody give this a try?
Well, I mean, it's odd, isn't it? I mean, some of them, like, I mean, Robite Gilliman, yeah, that's correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? I mean, the ones that I really like are the ones that are deliberately sort of Cthulhian and Lovecraftian in nature. It's like Zeech, right? Like Zeech, yeah? It's deliberately designed so that it's ambiguous, right? Or so that it's unpronounceable. That's the whole point. It's like Cthulhu, right? Yeah. I mean, in Lovecraft's letters, the way he said you pronounce it it's like a cough. It's like Cthulhu. That's why he wrote it like that. It's supposed to be unpronounceable by the human tongue, right?
Oh, the internet just ran with that, like, didn't it?
Yeah, really did. Zeech, yeah. I love it. I love the Chaos Gods' names are great. I suppose the simplest ones are Nurgle and Khorne because they're kind of, you know, Slaanesh.
Yeah, it all comes because of Arbites.
That's right.
I never thought they would ever be called Arbites.
No, I thought it would be Arbites, right?
Arbites, it's Arbites.
Yeah. Arbiter. That's very odd, isn't it? I thought it was Adeptus Arbites myself.
Did they say lieutenant or lieutenant?
Yeah, it could be either. That could be pronounced either way.
Yeah.
How
British are you?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I did have an English teacher who was absolutely, if you said lieutenant, he went absolutely berserk. It's lieutenant. But no, you can say it either way.
Yes, you can. Okay,
and as for like the fantasy words, the words that are just made up, you can pronounce them however the hell you like. It doesn't matter.
It's why I shall always pronounce Nagash as Big Daddy Hat.
Cicatrix Maledictum. That one's reasonably easy, even though it's long. That's reasonably easy.
Yeah.
I am amazed there isn't a band out there called Cicatrix Maledictum. It's like,
Cicatrix Maledictum. It's made for a metal band.
Yeah, like proper death metal.
Made for a death metal band, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do Garthkull Thracker.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of the hardest ones to pronounce.
I always do it as Gazgul with the
Gazgul, yeah.
Gazgul, yeah.
I used to as a kid, but apparently it is supposed to be Garthkull. But I like Gazgul better myself.
That's more awful.
You get some bite into the Z, can't you? It's like Gazgul. Yeah. Garthkull. No.
But it's supposed to be Garthkull, apparently.
Garth doesn't sound...
Party on Wayne Gull.
Garth doesn't sound like an orc word, though, that they'd say. Gaz.
No, you're right. Gaz doesn't it?
Yeah. If it was Gavgul, I could see that. But Gazgul.
There's a subtle one for Abaddon as well. I mean, it is Abaddon. That's how it's pronounced. Even though it's derived from Abaddon.
Yeah.
You know, and Abaddon sounds better. It just sounds like a better name.
It does. Because, of course, it's also a joke. Like a lot of names in 450K. It's Abaddon. A bad one. Abaddon. Oh, he's Abaddon, you know?
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, there was also a character in the background once called Abadas, a badass.
Oof.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, you go back to anything before 1992 and there are jokes about it.
Almost all of them were jokes. I mean, Garthkull's name is a joke. It's Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, it's anagram of Margaret Thatcher.
It's a mispronounced, Margaret Thatcher. That character was actually designed as a go at Margaret Thatcher.
Yep. Yeah. And of course, you've got Michael Jackson, who was a zombie with a flaming head. Just based off the.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, it's naughty, though, actually, that one, isn't it? Considering that's actually a little bit naughty, but it is funny.
Very, very funny. I can't help but laugh. Yeah, it's a bit near the knuckle, that one, but
Archaon is kind of tricky, I suppose. If you read it, because you wouldn't know, given the CH, you could pronounce it as Archaon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an unusual one, but that hard sound, you think it'd be a K, maybe.
Archaon, yeah.
Archaon.
Yeah, it's one of the weird ones, isn't it? Where the moment you start saying it to yourself a couple of times, you start just thinking, "The fuck am I actually trying to say?"
Is he called Archaon because he's an archangel? Is that the idea behind his name?
An Archaon it's from mythology. It's like trying to think of a way of describing it. It's like a personification of a belief, but not like a god, like a tempered belief. So,
right.
I want a storm of vengeance to go over there and kick the shit out of my neighbor. It would be an Archaon that would form to go and do it, so to speak.
Oh, right. Okie dokes. That's interesting.
It would be much, much bigger than that. It wouldn't just go to kick your neighbor's ass. It would be like, you destroy the... yeah, so something like that. Or a bowl of ice cream the size of New Orleans.
That's a big bowl. That's a lot of ice cream. Thank you, Matthew Broderick.
Because I know that Abaddon is from mythology.
I hope, just to put the brakes on for a second, I hope you're all proud of me for growing as a person and for not mentioning anything about Matthew Broderick when he was mentioned.
I was seeing if you would.
Kill the person, you know.
Aye.
Matthew Broderick, murderer. The thing is, I'm not lying. It's true. Killed a person in Ireland. Moving on.
Oh my god. I mean, I suppose this is quite a tricky one, is it? Mortarion or Mortarion? It's Mortarion, isn't it?
Yeah, I also thought it was Mortarion.
Mortarion, yeah.
Should we move on? Because we've got a couple of things to get through before we get to
of course.
The being able to be allowed to sleep.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, this caused a stir, didn't it? People were really pleased about this.
So the
Tomb
old
Kings.
world continues. Yeah, the Tomb Kings are making a reappearance.
Wow!
And as I always do, I study these maps when they come out.
Of course, yes.
Because this shit is ingrained in my brain, like how I learned the alphabet. It is ridiculous. So, interesting things about this map. Once again, there's been a bit of a shift and things have been moved around. Nowhere near as much as the last one. Nowhere near. But there are some towns that have been some cities that have been just moved about a little bit, made a bit more generalized, and there's a bit more of an empire feel to where they all sit. I quite like the fact that there's all the roads, and at one point you can see the little black pyramids.
Yeah.
Around. That makes me very, very happy. Also, does anyone else see the obelisks? I wonder who built them.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
So
I can't wait to see what they do with the Tomb Kings with like current day sculpting technology.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I still don't understand what this is going to be.
I've no idea. I'm kind of in the dark here.
When are they actually going to announce it? Like a proper reveal? Do you reckon?
My guess is going to be next. My guess would be it'll either be Christmas this year or next summer.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we've got the rumors, assuming they're correct, say that 10th Ed is this summer, isn't it? 10th Ed
July.
Yeah. So that's going to absolutely, they're not going to do another big release around that time. That's going to absolutely dominate that. And for a long time, right? For at least a few months, like into the winter, I would say.
But saying that, is this going to be a specialist games release where it's going to be? Because my guess would be, because they pulled a lot of the City of Sigmar stuff and they're currently redoing Cities of Sigmar from the ground up, my guess would be that everything Empire from that is going to come out in this.
Yeah, they're going to do like a dual. It's going to work in both game systems, yeah?
No, I think it'll just be Old World.
Oh, right. It's
because
just going to be...
Sigmar will have its own look by that point.
Right.
So it'll be that. I mean, obviously there'll be new Forge World releases, there'll be upgrade kits that you can get, all that type of thing. But my guess would be that the bones of it, the bones, that was on purpose. But the bones of it will be that last run of Empire stuff as the base.
Yeah. Interesting.
Whether they then re-release, I mean, they wouldn't re-release the Tomb Kings as they were because those things are ancient.
They're ancient. You know,
maybe they would. Ironically, you know, they've come back from the ancient plastic press kits of old.
Imagine if they just re-released that Skeleton Horde from 1988.
Oh my god, you know, people would buy it probably because it does have a certain nostalgic quality about it. But even so,
Tomb Kings are all in resin, and I mean the resin of the bad days.
Yeah. And also, I mean, the original army had problems with being all sort of like one note. If you collected Tomb Kings, you soon got bored of painting bone, I can tell you.
Well, that's why they've got the snake guy not bone colored at all. He's black and he's got red and gold on him just to make him pop a bit more.
He's quite lovely as well, actually. It's
Maybe they'll go more into the obsidian designs because some of the big creatures were obsidian, and I think the scorpions were meant to be kind of black colored as well, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Maybe so, like, you know, the animated statues and things like that. That'd be cool. The Ushapti, I think they were called. That'd be fabulous.
Yeah. Ushapti, they had bone giants.
The big Sphinx thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that was called. Yeah,
had
that
the
was
big giant Kalimar statue. I don't know what it was called, but it had the big eye lasers.
God, I forgot about that.
They would need.
There was an undead giant as well for them, wasn't there?
Yeah. He was an archer.
If I remember correctly.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. He's very good in Total War Warhammer. He's fun.
So there's a lot to work with. And of course they can now, I mean, assuming that it is going to be like a full army or something, they can introduce new stuff. They can bring in new bits.
Of course, yeah.
So, yeah. Cetra, they could bring Cetra back in this.
Well, I think that's kind of... I did see something about so the tyrannical rule of Cetra the Imperishable, the Undying King of Khemri, the Supreme Monarch of Nakara, and the other Tomb Kings are going to be major players in the stories we tell in Warhammer: The Old World.
Brilliant.
That's the time that they're in.
Excellent.
If you remember, this isn't anywhere near the end times. This is way back to what was history when Warhammer was first came out. Released. This is going back to a point that was history then.
Oh, of course. Nagash is also still asleep, isn't he, at this point? Yeah. He's in one of his hibernation periods, so Cetra is kind of the Lord of the Undead at this point.
That's right, yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it is. It's one of those things where I've got a feeling I'm going to end up just getting book upon book. Because I think this is going to be the quintessential old world collection, for want of a better term. And I just don't understand how the miniatures are going to work.
It's fascinating. I'm interested to see what it is. I'm not that bothered because I'm more interested in what's going on now. You know, You know, I'm also just more interested in the mortal realms than the old world. But I am fascinated to see what they do with these old armies. Same. You know, these old forces in the old background. Are they going to? Obviously, they're going to shake it up a little bit. Obviously, it's not going to be exactly the same. We've already seen that with the maps, right? The topography of the old world has changed.
Yeah. It really has. They've gone back and they've reworked quite a lot. It just fascinates me because I just can't get my head around what it is.
Yeah, I at the moment I have no idea. I've no idea what it is.
My original thought was going to be this was the replacement for Horus Heresy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is it the Horus Heresy of the fantasy system, effectively?
Yeah. So that would be, in Horus Heresy, you've got Chaos Marines, Loyalist Marines, and you've got Admech and Darkmech.
You've got Admech, Darkmech, and a few like hangers-on, a few bits and pieces from elsewhere.
But as armies go, that's it, isn't it? There's only the four lines, for want of a better term.
And interestingly enough, at this point for Horus Heresy, the difference between Loyalist and Heretic models are not that different.
No,
they're pretty similar with a few exceptions. Very few exceptions. You can't really do that here. They have to all be unique.
Everything has to be unique, and that's really fascinating. As I imagine, that's why they've gone for such a limited number of forces.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else here, is there? There's no like chaos or anything like that at the moment.
Doesn't seem to be Khemri now. Oh, you just mean in the old world in general?
In the old world in general, there's nothing. They have
Zarnagrund. Their Zarnagrund is on the map, and they've made an effort to move Zarnagrund around. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be Chaos Dwarfs. I mean, what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just don't know at all. I'm constantly baffled and bemused and fascinated every time something comes out.
Yeah, the fact they bothered to put Zarnagrund on there kind of suggests that there are going to be Chaos Dwarfs. I mean, why would you bother otherwise?
Yeah, or at least why would you bother moving it? Why would you bother making it in, rounding it up and changing things around? And I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just genuinely fascinated, and I kind of wish that they'd tell us what it is, how the miniatures go. I think that's it. Once I know how the miniatures will work, everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, because we don't know if they're doing a skirmish game or if they're going back to the old trays, do we? The old regiments.
My God, the old regiments, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, the rumor was that it was going to be based on a modified 6th edition fantasy.
In that case, it would be regiments then, wouldn't it? Because it only works with regiments. It's got to be.
Yeah. Something like I can't remember if it was 6th or 5th, but I remember seeing a couple of rumors running around that they're all coalescing against each other. That it was a modified version of an old rule set that was a lot more together, a lot more simple.
Yeah. It's going to need to be, because like 6th ed was actually quite complicated.
It was, which is why I'm second guessing myself, because it's like, would it be 6th ed? I mean, there still hadn't. That's one of the things about Warhammer Fantasy Battle is that it was built on the back of historical gaming.
That's exactly
Napoleonic and Dark Ages gaming.
And it came with all the problems of historical wargaming as well. I mean, one of the big issues in Fantasy Battle was the fact that it almost universally had to be regiments. And that made for some pretty dull games.
It sometimes did, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason to stop playing it.
yeah. There's a reason, like, everyone stopped playing it, and I mean, like, literally everyone. Towards, of course, I think it was at 9th ed, the very last one. Nobody played it. Nobody played it.
Yeah,
also,
we talked about that on the show before, and that was also due to like GW not supporting.
Well, it was the cycle of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Less people were interested, which meant they put less effort into it, which meant less people played it, which means they put less effort into it.
Do you really believe that? Because, I mean, look at AOS. People love AOS, and they don't put anything behind AOS now.
That's true.
We're talking about a very different market 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's also true. I mean, there's also the issue you have that certain armies, it just didn't make sense for them to be in regiments. Things like, for example, orcs in regiments. It's a bit silly. Beastmen in regiments. Why? Bloodletters. Demons in regiments. Can you imagine pink horrors lining up in regiment? It's so silly.
Well, and I know is by putting a black orc at the front of every orc regiment.
Yeah.
That's what they were there to do. That's what black orcs did. No, I always find it funny when, like, forest goblins who are all just sitting there high off their asses on mushrooms. It's like, now, 4x3, 4x3.
Everyone form up with your identical spears and whatnot. Yeah, it's not my style of gaming, that's for damn sure. And if it is that, I probably will not be bothering.
It's a thing, though. I think I could be talked into it depending on what there is. And because I've been, for a bit of a laugh, building a Chaos Dwarf army in regiments, more for something to look at than anything else. It's just more like a display army than an actual play army.
Yeah.
But if there's ways playing Chaos Dwarfs in this, then I'm already ahead of the curve.
Of course. I mean, there are certain characters they could carry over as well from AOS very easily. I mean, the likes of Baelacor, he's around. He's around at this point. I mean, he's one of the most ancient creatures in the fantasy battle setting, so they could easily port him over. All the demons, obviously.
Oh my god, I've just realised you could have Astrogoth before he got into the big metal suit.
Into his stroller thing, yes. You could actually have young Astrogoth before he turned to stone.
Oh man, he has to be called Young Astrogoth.
That'd be cool. That would be cool.
The Young Astrogoth Adventures.
Actually, now that I think about it, Archaon is around as well.
Is he a Sigmarite at this point? Well, not a Sigmarite. Oh no, it would be a Sigmarite.
He may be at this point a Templar of Sigmar. So wouldn't that be interesting?
That would be a load of fun.
God, wouldn't that be cool if they introduced him as an Empire character?
A hero who you could have leading armies against Chaos. That'd be
funny. Wouldn't that be awesome?
I've just realised, much to my horror, that one of my favourite things in the Warcraft mythology was nicked completely from Warhammer.
Oh, yeah.
And that is Archaon Arthas.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I've only just hit that. That's only just hit me right now.
I mean, I don't think Archaon went back home and knifed his dad, but...
No.
He might have done.
I don't think he did. I think he went to the Chaos lands and just went, nah, fuck it, I like it here. I'm gonna go.
Archaon murdered his entire family.
Did he? Did he do that?
Yeah.
Did he do that before heading off to the waste?
Before heading off to the Chaos Waste.
Yeah. Arthur goes evil, then comes back home, then kills his dad. And
it's like, Archaon does it the other way around. He goes mad, kills his whole family, burns down his entire order, and then heads off into the Chaos Wastes.
But does he have the amazing line of "succeeding you, father"?
No, I don't think so. I think he was mad at that point, so he probably was just like,
father.
Yeah. I think a lot of the Chaos characters are wandering around at this time. They could easily go back and bring in, the old sort of the characters that aren't around anymore.
Like who?
They could so use this as an excuse to bring them back.
Bring back Festus. He's fun and he's fat.
Festus is still around.
Is he? No. Yeah. I mean, is it Festus the one who he's got the little dude on his back who makes potions?
Yeah. Festus is still around. You can still use him in the Maggotkin. Yeah. Damn.
What about Azazel? Is Azazel still cracking?
Oh, I wish, but no. Sadly
bring back
not.
Azazel then.
I'd like to see Azazel. Azazel was really good when Azazel was a thing.
Yeah. You can make him a thing again because he's got an interesting backstory, kind of being like Sigmar's best friend, then being like,
once upon a time, and then becoming the arch prince. There was a time, and it's gone now in the fluff, but Azazel was the highest demon of Slaanesh. He was like the equivalent of Scarbrand, to Khorne.
Nakari, right?
Yeah,
Nakari
it's gone now. It's gone now. I don't even think he's been mentioned in the background since God knows when.
Well, if what they're doing here is just emphasizing hey, we know you guys like playing Total War Warhammer, they'll probably bring back Azazel because he's a character in the game. They could bring back Valkyr. Valkyr, the lady of
Valkyr the Bloody. Yeah, she's still around too. She's still in the latest Khorne book.
Okay.
Yeah, she's still very much part of the Khorne forces. Yeah, she's been in the last several books, I think.
Okay.
Who else could they bring back?
Egrim. Into my mind.
Egrim Van Horseman on his dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
two things that popped into my mind, which I want to throw out there before we move on. One is the realization that Emmerich Kemmler is going to be around at this point.
Yes.
Because he's the one that tried to make a zombie emperor to stick him on the throne.
That's right.
Yes. No one will notice.
Yeah, no one would ever know.
But I can't think if Krell would be around.
Because Kemmler and Krell do become a double act at one point, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Krell's alive, or is when Krell's dead?
When Krell's dead.
Okay, so maybe you could have Krell alive.
Oh, yeah. Because Krell was a champion of Khorne, wasn't he? When he was alive.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
He could fight Archaon. Archaon could kill him. Krell could bring him back. There you go.
In fact, I mean, one of the other characters who is also part of the Empire ostensibly is Egrim. He was the sort of High Magister of the College of Light once upon a time.
Nerds.
Which means this game could actually feasibly start with him wandering off and finding a dragon.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff they could play with here if they thought about it. If they went back to the old books and whatnot and looked into the background, they could really play around here. It could be fun.
Quest Adventures of Gotrek.
And
Felix.
Oh man,
it's probably a little bit early to do Gotrek and Felix in the timeline, but you could.
I think so. You
could weave it in there eventually.
Gotrek would be around, but he wouldn't be a Slayer.
No, he'd be happy potentially.
Young Gotrek, yeah.
Oh man, that's it. If I do play this, I'm going to run a dwarf army and just have one happy dwarf called Gotrek.
You're not going to have Snorri. Not going to have happy Snorri.
No, because things might happen to Snorri and my heart can't take it.
Port press Snorri.
Snorri's had enough happen to him. Snorri just, in fact, there should be a game where it's just Snorri gets a happy day and lots of fluffy pillows. And that's
every game ends with him waking up and finding out it's not true.
No. Snorri needs to have a happy day. You leave Snorri alone. He's suffered enough. The other thing I just noticed, by the way, was if you look at the snake skeleton man, if you really zoom in on his face, somebody has been tracing from Frank Langella's Skeletor. Because He's got the little Frank Langella eyes in the middle of it. It freaks me out.
Oh yeah, you can kind of see it with the shading. Yeah.
Right. So LVO. Let's boom into some LVO. Oh, sorry. Yes. Also, I was quickly do this one. If you turn up at any Warhammer Games Workshop type thing this year, any convention or big event, you can either get a really cool commissar or a really angry barbarian. Both are very, very. And I will be getting that commissar when I go to Warhammer Fest in April, May.
Barbarian would make a good vampire for what do you call it? Warcry, which we'll be talking about in a bit.
Really would. Yeah, absolutely, you would. And if you want me to pick one up for you, I shall.
I don't have what it takes to make a wolf head for him.
I actually have a couple of wolf heads from the Blood Bowl kit. So yeah, if you want to pick it up, I can send you him and them.
Maybe. Yeah, I'll have to have a think about it. I'll have a little perusey.
That is a fabulous commissar.
Yeah, commissar's great.
I love him. I think he's so sort of he's exactly like what you want.
I can see his eyes. I don't like it.
You want the cap over his eyes, do you? Yeah.
Cap should be lower. I should only see the nose and mouth. He's all about the chin.
Yeah.
I would like to invite you in the Imagination Copter to follow me on a little journey I went on when I saw this.
Mm-hmm.
Because my first thought was, if Henry Cavill does get this 40k series off the ground, I now want Jason Statham to play this Inquisitor. Come on, tell me you can't see Jason Statham in that Inquisitor.
I can't see Jason Statham. Doesn't come across as refined as an Inquisitor. He's too much of a guardsman. And having as a sergeant.
I agree. I think as a guardsman, I could definitely see him.
Yeah.
That miniature makes me think Jason Statham. Look at him. Look at this. Oh yeah, I'm Commissar Statham. Hey.
I think a commissar needs to be a bit more of a. He's an officer, isn't he? So he needs to be more.
They need
more
gravitas.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a commissar, it has to be played by Sean Pertwee.
Oh, we get whoever played Darling in Blackadder.
It's Tim McHenry who plays Darling in Blackadder.
Get him. Blackadder, but Warhammer. There we go.
Don't be revolting, darling. I like the idea. I absolutely love the idea of Commissar Melchett. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Loud noises. Right. Okay. LVO. Let's burn through the LVO.
Excellent Cadian wit. We've got the silly space.
Yeah,
we've got the silly space. Yeah, right, I was going to say we've got the frigging ridiculous Space Marines, right? Strike force the gas.
I love them.
Me too. I'll be honest. I love them. They are the stupidest things to hit the Space Marines for a long time. For a long time. They look like they're carrying big, silly Nerf guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it looks way too out of place.
It's so silly. Honestly, it's so silly. I can get not like
I don't think they're good.
No. That's not it at all. I can get not liking them. I mean, really, I can. But they do make me smile. The absurdity of it makes me smile. I can't help it, you know?
Do you remember back in the older editions where you just had a Devastator squad and you knew exactly what they did? I don't know what these do. I think this is the problem with the Space Marines at this point. They have so many units. I don't know what each of them do by looking at them.
That is absolutely true. The Space Marines have a real problem with that, and they have this problem with like saturation of different battlefield roles. So you've got so many units in the elite slot, so many units in the heavy weapons slot. It's really difficult to get a bead on what do I take? What does that do? What does this do? Why would I take that over this? What? Yeah. It is a problem. It is a real problem with the Space Marines, because of course they release new Space Marines every edition, and often well into the edition. These guys, I've no idea. Those guns are silly. They're really silly. But I do want to model them with little flags coming out of each of the barrels that say bang.
Well, the rocket launcher parts. Why don't you take the nipple missile parts out and replace them with like cats, so they shoot cats at people?
Anything like that. Yeah. Painting them really bright orange so they look like Nerf guns. Anything like that. I mean, I'm so up for it.
Are these anti-personnel or anti-vehicle? Because the missile would make me think that they have some sort of anti-vehicle capability, but then they've also got a Gatling gun, which kind of supersedes the heavy bolter.
It's odd, isn't it? It's hard to see what they're going to do. You're right. It's absolutely difficult to see like what they are for, but I still love.
It's the idea of firing a Gatling gun and then shooting a missile out of the thing you've just shredded with a Gatling gun.
Yeah. I mean,
there would be nothing left.
There is a thing for me with 40k where, by its very nature, it's overblown and ridiculous. That's kind of part of the satire of the universe. That's how it's always been. These are another step up. It's so ridiculous. And I kind of like it. Like it.
I literally spent 20 minutes giggling to myself for the following reasons.
I particularly like the guy who's with one hand aiming the bolt pistol, and then with the other is hefting this ridiculous bloody thing that's got a missile launcher, a Gatling gun, and there's pipes coming off it, and he's so overbalanced. Like the miniature, like the silhouette of the miniature is so overbalanced. Kind of love how stupid it is. And he's got like one tiny little trigger on this big. It's so brilliant. I love it. It's so stupid.
So if you look at the missile Gatling gun thing, right?
Yep.
When I look at the flaps open, there's two eyes, a little red nose, and the Gatling looks like a mouth. And that thing, I am sure, taught me how to do the alphabet when I was a kid. I am absolutely 100% sure that was a very early BBC character that was like, and now you do a B, up and round, and now a C, round.
Strangely enough, I think the concept of this unit could work in the Tau. Like, you give this to a Tau, not this design. You can't save this design. Fuck that. If you redesigned it so it was a missile launcher and a Gatling gun weapon for the Tau, it would work because they're overgunned anyway. So non-Space Marines. Come on now. This is just making more Space Marines for the sake of it. Come on.
What they should have been a new type of super heavy armor. The missiles go on the shoulders, and they're carrying a Gatling gun.
Maybe your new Terminator equivalents.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, Terminators. Yes, just do Terminators.
Exactly that. Yeah, and that's how you do it. Yeah. You know, but having.
I mean, like,
I keep seeing one that's just like swinging it round. I can't help imagine he just goes, "Fuck it," and just flings himself off his own feet.
I mean, like in any like realistic scenario, these guys would be awesome in melee as well, wouldn't they? Because they could just like bludgeon anything with those things, you know.
I would laugh so hard if there's no rules for these things to shoot.
I mean, like, right, anything they hit with those guns is going to die, right? Like, physically hit with them.
Absolutely. It's when I first saw them, I thought for a second that the missiles were belt fed, and I just lost it.
I mean, even 40k, that might be pushing it, but not. You know, insofar as these guys go, maybe not by that much.
To be fair, if you did like a dreadnought that had a belt-fed missile launcher, that would look really cool and could work. Or do on a vehicle, you know, something big. I think doing it on a dreadnought would be really cool.
Handheld.
No,
the notion. It's so brilliant. I mean, you know, it does make me laugh. I'll be honest, it does make me smile.
If it was an alternate Reboot Gilliman weapon. where it was a belt-fed missile launcher again, and the missiles were carried around by like a little cherub thing. All right, that can work.
Fine.
Sure,
I can sort of see that. Yeah,
the Redemptor looks good though.
Way?
I like the Redemptor with its big claws and its big pinchy hands. Yeah. That looks nice. Yeah. I mean, it is just a variant of a Redemptor though, but it's all right.
Adam, Mr. White, I think that would be brilliant. They should do that. As a rule, he says you'd have to roll to see how far back the recoil would push the Marine backwards. I think that's a brilliant idea. I'm up for that. That should be a special rule for these guys. I think it would be fantastic. For every time you fire, you've got to roll dice 6 to see how far back the unit moves. I think that's a brilliant idea.
You could use that as a strategy if you run ahead of an objective. Yeah. And then the gunfire could push you back onto the objective after you've been in range.
After shooting. That might be pretty good. As a rule, that might actually be quite, tactically useful.
Yeah, stupid but fun.
Stupid but fun. I'm kind of into that. More of that, please. More stupid but fun.
If these were Iron Warriors, would you still think they looked as stupid?
Yes, because weapons still look shit.
Warriors.
The thing is, with Iron Warriors, you can get away with it because chaos. You can, you can have all of the gribbly sort of organic stuff. The guns would be bonded to their bodies or erupting out of them or whatever. Yeah. You can get away with it because chaos. It's a bit more. It's a bit more difficult on these guys. I still love them.
Again, you probably could get away with it if it was Iron Hands, because you say you could just do, like you said, the inbuilt thing, but on them, just less greebly.
Paint them up as Iron Hands, I can kind of see that.
Well, I mean, specifically, you'd need to have them, this melded to the flesh, like you say.
Yeah, sort of replacing limbs, basically, yeah.
Oh, no. I've just realised something. So you see on the back of them, they've all got, some of them have got the targeters.
Yeah, little happy robot faces. Yeah.
Right. The guy who's got this single shot missile, who's also got the bolt gun, has a massive targeter, which you normally only see on snipers.
Yeah.
He's a sniper missile launcher.
He's a sniper missile launcher, yeah. It's brilliant.
Oh no. I wonder if we should follow this trail of smoke back to see who shot the president.
I still love the fact that he even bothers having a bolt pistol. It's why? It's I've just rolled this fusillade in my shooting phase. I'm now going to roll the bolt pistol.
Funnily enough, no holster for the bolt pistol. Some of them have holsters. This guy doesn't. He's carrying it by hand and one-handing the missile launcher all the time.
Maybe it's his favorite weapon for when he was a neophyte. Maybe he's got some sentimental attachment to it.
Oh, he does have a neophyte's mohawk, doesn't he, sir?
He does, actually. Now that you mention it, yes, he does.
Oh, he's a newbie. That's why he's stupid. He doesn't know what he's doing.
He's just been instantly promoted because every other person had their arms fall off.
It's brilliant. I mean, the ructions these guys caused when they I get it. I like it. I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
And we haven't even talked about the ones at the front, the ones with the 4 tiny missiles instead of the 2 big ones.
Oh, it's brilliant.
God.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to talking about these since they arrived, and it hasn't disappointed.
No,
they have made me laugh so much.
They are very comical.
If you go down to the carousel of pictures, the second one along with the guys with the tiny missiles and the Gatling gun, is it just me, or does the open flaps just look really happy? Like, hello.
They look like eyebrows, don't they, or something? Yeah.
They just look like, oh my god, it looks like Mickey Mouse. Right. Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah. They are.
That was
a bit of a laugh.
That was so stupid. I love them. So next up, Vashtor the Archifane invades the Dark Angel's home turf.
This sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'd assume this is going to be in Arcs of Omen Vashtor, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Or, as rumor has it, one of them is going to be Arcs of Omen the Lion.
Yeah, this is apparently so, yeah. This is one of the big, very, very, very consistent rumors, right? That the next big release for the Imperium, and one of the things that's going to mark the end of Ninth Ed, is the return of the Lion. Yeah. And given that we've got Dark Angels in a box set, we've got the new Azrael there, of course. Yep. I mean, he looks bloody lovely. I've always had a soft spot for Azrael. I like the Dark Angels a lot, They are one of my favorite Imperial chapters. And to see him, crossing the Rubicon Primaris. And
is it actually Azrael as well?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's Azrael. That's him, the chapter master of the Dark Angels. It's Azrael, having been Primarist,
Ah, okay. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a
normal gun.
The shame then about this set is this is going to be the only way to get these two really important, cool characters for a while then, right?
Yeah, probably.
In a set that has 2 new models, and that's it, and the rest is just kind of old stuff.
Yep, that's true.
That's a shame.
That's true. I think I'm going to get it, though.
Yeah, because you want the 2 really cool characters, don't you? Yes, you do.
Well, to be fair, those Dark Angels Terminators, they chaos up really nicely. They really do. Get scraping that Imperial iconography off and just putting bits of chaos gribbly all over them. It works. It works. Hang on. I think I've got an example knocking about here somewhere.
I wonder if my George Zoom still works. We'll give it a try if you get the model.
Hang on. No, it's somewhere down there, unfortunately. But they do. They do. Take it from me, they work.
I like the fact that the Terminator with the lightning claws has the little Native American flowers and feathers and sacks and everything. Which
reference to their original background, which no longer applies.
Yeah. Bullshit. Everything else is a lie. Right? They say that that's the lie and this is the truth. I think that what they say is the truth is the lie because they don't want to know about the gene stealer infection that they might have already had.
Okay.
Well, it is the Dark Angels, isn't it? Everything about them is lies and conspiracies, so why not, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly
why
that.
Not?
I mean, I really just want to do a Deathwing chapter and it's all just Tyranid hunting Terminators, which apparently is what we're going to get. So,
yeah, why not? Go for it. Oh, I mean, that Azrael miniature, look at, it's so nice.
It is.
That's really lovely. Is. That's really, really cool. Although, it's not as good as Vashtor. Then again,
I hate the fact that the Primaris tower over the Terminators. Makes me so sad.
They really do, because those Terminators are the old scale ones, right? So they're a bit wee.
Yeah.
They're a bit wee, yeah.
Thankfully, they are bigger than the cultists. Not by much, though.
Not by much.
Not by much.
One of those cultists could happily be wearing that armor.
Yeah.
I mean, my God,
I do like the
obliterators are compared to them. Bloody hell.
Oh, massive.
Oh, those new cultists for the new Chaos Space Marines, they are fabulous. Oh, they're so nice.
Yeah,
they've done such a good job with them. Particularly that cultist command set that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, give me all of them.
I mean, I think if you got that set, and then rolled in some of the Imperial Guard parts, and then some of the ones from Necromunda.
Yes.
You'd end up with such a good look.
You would.
Corpse Grinder, that's what they were called. The Corpse Grinder gang.
Yes. And there you've got Vashtor, of course, who is that miniature. That's one of my favorite demon miniatures for a long while.
He is freaking massive.
Yeah, he's bigger than I thought. I don't know why. I didn't expect him to be that big, but he's big. He's like Greater Demon, isn't he? He's basically like Demon Prince, Greater Demon scale.
Well, from looking at that, and it's at an angle, so it's a bit hard to judge. But he looks like he's about the same size as the new Slash Greater Demon.
Oh, the Keeper of Secrets.
Keeper of Secrets, thank you.
Yeah.
to me at all. It looks like he's about that kind of size.
So big. Yeah,
it looks like he's a 60-pound kit, basically.
Which makes sense. I mean, he's not quite at the level of the Chaos Gods yet, but according to he is a power within the warp, and he's very, very powerful. He's worshipped he's like Balakor level, worshipped as a god, as Balakor is, with a degree of independence from the Chaos powers themselves. He brokers the Great Game, because he runs the Forge of Souls, the only neutral territory in the warp. He brokers the game between the Chaos Gods. He's basically the rules lawyer. He's the games master. It's really cool. He's the DM.
Yep. That means you have to put like a little bag of Cheez-Its in his hand.
He's got to have a screen as well, obviously, who can roll those dice,
Oh man! Oh, he does look like he's got a good dice rolling arm, hasn't he?
He's got a good dice rolling hand there. He really has.
We do have a question in chat. What is the Void Dragon for someone who doesn't know?
Oh, the Void Dragon is a Catan. It's one of the old star gods. So it's weird. There are different types of gods in the 40k universe. There are those that derive from the warp, and the ones that derive from the warp are shaped by like the thoughts and feelings and beliefs of sentient creatures. Then there are gods that are born in the material universe, and they are born from the physical forces of reality, and that's what the Catan are. And the Void Dragon is one of them.
There you go.
A very simple answer would be the Catan were around for so long that they ascended into godhood, for want of a better term.
Kind of. I mean, they are sincerely gods, the Catan.
Yeah.
They are, but they're not born from like the metaphysics of the warp. They're born from material processes, physical forces.
Yeah.
It's very, very peculiar, but they're kind of like counterposed to the gods of the warp. Very, very, very odd, but there you are. And also, they are like the gods of the warp, complete bastards by all accounts.
And then there's the Emperor, who is good and kind and cares for everyone.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm just looking at the redacted Ordo Xenos redacted. Now, if it was the Lion, would it be Ordo Xenos?
No, it wouldn't. Ordo Xenos is alien. So that is going to be I imagine that's not going to be the Lion. The Lion will come at the very end, like a night thing, I don't know what that could be. If it's Ordo Xenos, I mean, I doubt it would be the introduction of like, although there is some scuttlebutt that says that a new 10th Ed is going to launch with a new race, a new alien race. I don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, technically, if you're going to look at big Xenos players, I would say the Silent King. Because the Necrons could do with a bit of
another push, because they've been forgotten since the beginning of the edition.
They have a little bit. They have a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, we never actually found out why the Silent King came back, did we?
No, there's lots of rumors. I mean, one of them is that he encountered something beyond the edges of the universe that was horrific. And he came back to fortify,
I've just had a flashback. Do you remember what we said? Do you remember what we came up with a theory?
Which was, I can't remember.
Our theory was that he came back because something chased him back.
That's right, yes.
And we said that the next edition is the introduction of whatever chased him back.
Yeah.
If we've done it, if we've called it
that
4
would be
years
fab.
ago.
I mean, I want kudos for that. If we did call it, I want kudos for that, I can tell you.
I want a free set, free edition.
Yeah,
absolutely. Games Workshop.
Come on. Make up for the Cursed City.
Sons, please. Thank you very much.
Say sorry to me personally for the Cursed City. Since I'm the zombie
dude. Come round to my house and make my tea.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be nice, actually. Yeah. I'd be down.
James Workshop.
What could it be? Is it? Are they going to use it as an excuse to introduce a new race or what? They could.
Would you introduce a new race at the very end of a life?
That's the thing. I wouldn't. That's the thing. It would be, it would be the beginning of the next one.
The only time you do that is if you're reintroducing something. So it's like a big shit, they're back, rather than these are new things.
So I'd assume this will be a relaunch of a previous species. Maybe this is the Tyranids, right? Maybe this is the new new face of the Tyranids, yeah?
This is what I'm thinking here is Broken Realms. Where did Broken Realms end? Broken Realms ended... What's the last Broken Realms book?
Teclis, wasn't it? Was it Teclis?
No, I don't think it was. I don't think Teclis was the last one.
Was it not? I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, it was Kragnos, wasn't it?
Kragnos, that's right.
Yeah, it was Kragnos, the last one.
That's right, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, Kragnos, the end of worlds.
Yes, who just got tricked into leaping through a magic door after some non-existent dragons.
Yeah, which didn't really... Yeah,
that's literally what happened.
Yeah. That's right.
Hey, he might be the end of the world, but he's just not smart. Leave him be.
No, he really isn't.
He's got a horse brain.
And that was it. He hasn't done anything since. He's.
We're not going to go into that soapbox.
No.
Because if we do, I'll just get angry. Right.
Arcs of Omen. Yeah, Arcs of Omen.
Yeah. So moving on, then let's get into the Gnarl Woods. For we have some new underworld forces coming. One is the Witch Elves, which I'm going to be honest here, I'm not a huge fan of these.
Why don't you like Witch Elves?
They're all right, but they're a bit generic, aren't they? They look like the previous kits. There's nothing. You know how a lot of the time these kits for the the smaller games, they're really characterized. Right? They emphasize something different about the armies and the miniatures. These look just like they could come from the kits, right?
Yeah, it does. It does look like just like a kit you'd pick up for this army.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with them. They're very dynamic. No. They're really well put together. They look good. They look like what they are, I
find the leaders in a bit of a generic pose because a lot of the Witch Elves are in that one leg on a rock, holding something in front of them,
jumping or leaping or something. Yeah, no, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just a bit dull.
Yeah, it's
like the Daughters of Cain, unfortunately.
Nah.
No, I mean they're not being touched really. The Daughters of Cain, they've been kind of left with the same aesthetic, really.
Not since the Broken Realms, really, when they reintroduced Morathai as the goddess Morathai.
Make these more snaky, right?
Yeah, totally.
Mutants. Like they have a snake arm or a snake head or like a snake arm head.
Introduce more of the Slaaneshi elements, right? Yeah. Because that's the thing with the Daughters of Cain, right? Their souls have been plucked from the belly of Slaanesh and reforged, but there's still that hint of Slaaneshi corruption in them. So yeah, that would be fun.
I think it's a 1-2 punch here that's happened, which has made me cold on them. I don't like the masks. I think it could be the paint job. I'm not sure. But I think the masks kind of... They give them a very old woman, bad, soft sculpt look.
Yeah.
I think it's the only way I can describe it. Because the way that the masks are, it kind of robs them of any character in the face. And because there's nothing really else going on with the rest of the uniform, it means they look quite generic. The other thing is, if they would be doing things like handstands or... basically a lot more acrobatic.
Yeah.
So you've got leaping. You've got the one that's got the net, and she looks like she's leaping up over the net, and that's probably my favourite of the lot. If they, like the whip, or the hair was on the ground and they were like leaping up backwards or something like that, that might fix it because they just look a bit generic.
They do look a bit dull, don't they? It's not as exciting as some of the other sets.
We've seen
definitely.
Better.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Moving on to the next one, then it's a great big frog, and holy of God, do I love this guy!
It's awesome. Wow! As an update for the Slann, that is spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I also like the fact he looks like he's about to hit the skink in the head with his stick.
He looks very curmudgeonly, doesn't he? He looks like he's annoyed, like he's been asleep for a couple of centuries and he's been woken up by that skink, and he's not happy about it.
And his frog's jumped off his hand. Oh, a frog.
I'm expecting this guy to be like a magical Holocaust, as they are. Do you remember what when they were originally introduced, the Slann mage priests, and they were the best best magic users in the game, bar none.
Yeah,
nothing could touch them. I'm hoping for that actually.
Do you think they'll bring back Bretonia so then the frogs will have the ultimate enemy? The friend.
Oh dear.
It wasn't just the frog, was it? There was also stupid dinosaurs, riders and whatnot that were showing off as well, right?
Oh yeah. There are the dino riders as well, who are actually, I love these guys too. I love these guys. The skink riders, yeah?
Yeah. It's the one thing that Mikey did that was right. These dinosaurs that aren't real look good.
Right. Not real, but they look bloody good. You know what I like about them, though? The designs of them take cues from recent revelations about actual dinosaurs. They've got feathers.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, they look amazing. These guys are beautiful. I would love to get this set to paint them up just for the crack. They are gorgeous looking.
I love the expressions on the skinks.
Yeah.
They are such shit-eating little bastard faces.
Yeah.
I love it. The standard bearer and his little smirk. Just that fucking. Oh, you want to slap him? I love it. So good. No, yeah. I did not expect to see updated lizard men stuff, and B, decide that this is probably some of the finest things I've ever seen. I love them. I think they're absolutely top notch. I'd say the shields may be a little dull, but apart from that, beautiful.
I certainly didn't expect this amount of stuff for their re-release, but I'm very, very happy that they've done it. I'm very happy. You've got the new Saurus warriors as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great as well. They look a lot beefier, beefier than they used to, and the intricacy of the detail on these guys is incredible. That standard bearer again, who's almost got like a Necron style detail going on. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I like these guys. I like these guys a lot.
And they've redesigned the heads technically now for the Saurus. This is the now standard Saurus head design rather than the kind of standard, what I would call standard lizard man from back in day.
Yeah.
They look a bit more distinct, don't they? They
more
look a bit
dinosaur-y.
More dinosaur-y. Absolutely. No, I love these guys. Again, I could see just getting them to paint for the crack of it, because they look lovely.
I like the fact they don't have swords, they have twatting sticks. All of them have twatting sticks.
Yes. Absolutely.
Even the drum bearers, it didn't look like that's for the drum. It just looks like he bonks people on the head with it.
That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. I'm very into this. I've got to say, I'm very excited by these guys.
It doesn't super lean into the space aspect, which Griff and you guys have always talked about. But if you like your lizard men, this looks like a solid update to that specifically, and that's fine.
That's fine, you know, and they've done it well. I mean, what they've done, there's no doubting the quality. They've done it really, really well with these guys. They look quite big as well. From these photographs, these guys look like they're quite
cast size, probably, I guess.
I'm thinking,
And they've kind of backed off from the memories of Saurus warriors being teleported down from the ships.
They're not ghosty thingies anymore, you mean?
No, they've kind of they've said that they still exist, but there's also birthing, spawning pools now kicking around in all the realms.
Right.
Oh, they actually say here almost all Seraphon come in two varieties: the flesh and blood coalesced and the phantasmal starborn. So you can have either. That's really clever, actually. They've just rewritten them so that you can have whatever you like. Yeah. Brilliant. Cool. Why not? Right?
Fine by me. Absolutely fine by me. Because then what you have on the battle on the tabletop works a hell of a lot better with the background. And good. These new Saurus warriors are just the sex, aren't they?
They're really good. I mean,
it's a good start to kind of refreshing the line. There's obviously just a lot left to do for the lizard men. They've got so many, so many units that need to be updated. Like so many other Age of Sigmar kind of guys.
Need redoing.
Yeah.
Although can you see, Andy, these lizard men heads? Not all of them, but some of them being put onto Tyranids to make really cool looking Tyranids.
Oh I could see that working.
The skinks you could definitely get away with. They kind of have a Tyranidy thing going on anyway.
Well, the Sauruses could be like mini warriors, kind of.
Yeah,
that would work.
Get away with it. You could definitely get away with it.
Yeah, just bore out the eyes a little bit or fill them in.
Yeah,
that would work.
Very nice. Very nice. That's kind of exciting, actually. I'm really pleased. I'm really, really pleased for the Seraphon players out there.
I'd laugh if they put the Screamer Killer into this army. they just like really poorly glue a dinosaur head onto the front of it, and they're like, "It's a new unit. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
I'd be very happy.
So looking at the roadmap for Age of Sigmar, Beast of Chaos, Gloom Spite Gits.
Oh.
Then we have an Order Battle Tome, Chaos, Death.
Yay, I like Death.
I'm not entirely sure what any of this will be. I'm going to guess that one of those deaths is the Arc Bone Reapers. Getting there.
One of them might be the Soul Blight Gravelords. Like, they're not getting anything new. It's just like, here's a new book for them. I would imagine that's most of the death ones.
Assume, the Soul Blight, I imagine, is a safe bet for these guys.
I mean, I think we can make the assumption if we're getting 10th edition for 40k this year, probably most of these are just going to be here the new rules. Maybe get one unit, like a character, and
you'll get a character.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, especially for
that's why there's 5 books in summer, because it's like, here are the rules. There you done.
There you are. Get on with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Right.
Yeah.
Should we talk about some more?
The up and coming Chaos books are not difficult to predict either, because there's only 2. There's only 2 they've got to do. There's the Blades of Khorne and the Hedonites, right?
Yeah.
Both complete ranges. So.
Yeah, they'll be exactly the same. Just to get them out and up you go out.
Although,
there might be a character or something else for them.
Exactly, and given the quality of the Chaos books thus far, can't wait to get my Hedonites.
Do you know, it'd be really cool, right? If you're going to release a new character for each of those armies, put a box out with them against each other.
Oh God, Hedonites versus Blades of Khorne. Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
A good way of selling them.
Makes perfect sense, obviously.
I think so. I think that'd be a really good thing to do. Okay, back to the Gnarlwood, for we have some new Warcry. This
is how you do it, right?
Yeah. Holy shit, this is top of the game stuff, like, isn't it?
Yeah. Completely new aesthetic for the vampires. Again, they're introducing another aesthetic. This is how you do it, right?
Do the vampires look like the vampires from Nightmare Before Christmas?
Actually,
like the faces.
Now that you've mentioned it, they do a wee bit.
Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange down in Gnarlwood? Then you'll see, and the trees are covered in meat.
Yeah, meat tree.
Meat tree. I love meat trees. Meat trees are great.
Slanesh really loves meat trees.
Oh God, yeah, you wouldn't believe.
Oh boy,
always rooting around for a meat tree. Is that Slanesh?
Rooting.
That's a word with multiple meanings. These vampires are
pretty
shit.
Cool, aren't they?
That werewolf.
The werewolf. Oh. They've done werewolves before Games Workshop many moons ago, like long time ago, and they've never been any good. That is brilliant.
It kind of looks like almost bat-like as well, which is kind of nice. It's very lithe.
Got that nice sort of spindly, almost like it looks a bit wasted, doesn't it? You know, I like that. I like that a lot, and its face sculpt is fantastic too.
Yeah, absolutely. But even like just the normal everyday vampires, the armor and stuff that they've got.
Yeah.
Bone meets samurai feel. It's so.
It's really nice, isn't it? It's really nice. So, I mean, the whole thing with these guys is they're vampires from Gur, aren't they?
Yes.
So they've got like bestial tendencies, which is really, really nice. A Skurgan True Blades.
I can honestly say I was absolutely blown away by these guys. And the guy, this is a really weird one. The guy with the hood and his little bat friend, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to call him Homeless John. And he, in his giant hand, because it looks like he's slowly turning into the wolf or something.
Yeah.
That's such a subtle, but such a great thing to put onto him.
Yeah.
And then you got the bare feet and this really emaciated torso. Oh, God, it's just gorgeous.
It's very good. There's something really wild about these guys, you know? They look like feral vampires, don't they? And I like that. I like that a lot.
And the background, they hunt the great beasts of the realms, gorging themselves of the primal energies, you know.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's the shit I want. I want vampires that exist. They don't want people. They don't want animals. They want
the
god
beasts.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like the bloodbound that are opposed to them, they're lovely too. What a lovely idea! These guys worship Karanak, the Hound of Corn. So that's their symbolism.
The guardian of the throne of Corn.
Yeah, brilliant idea. I love the Corn Lord who's got the mask that's like a flesh hound.
He's just a corn berserker, like waiting for not even that much changing.
Stick a backpack on him, jobs are good.
Yeah, he's
right?
done.
Don't even bother. You just stick him down. He's fine.
It's the two little guys, and they've got like the fanged faces coming out of their own face. Oh, I know the masks. It's so well done. And the guy on all fours.
Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. That's very cornate, isn't it?
Yeah,
he thinks he's a dog. Bless him.
For a second, I thought that foot that he has coming out of the back of his backside of him. I thought that was a tail originally. Like, is he turning into one? It's like, no, it's his foot. Yeah, these honestly. It's one of those things when a new Warcry gets announced, there's always you like one team better than the other.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah. In this case, I think both of them are really absolutely good, right? Smashed out the park. And I can honestly sit here and just go, I want this. I want this.
It's a lovely set. It's just a genuinely lovely set. And also the terrain is good too.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yes.
It looks very Gury. It's scene appropriate.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd like is maybe if the map was more swampy looking. Yeah. I think that would be a bit nicer instead of just kind of generic earth ground texture. But it's fine. You know, nothing wrong with it.
It's another strong showing from Warcry, right?
It's the first time that I've liked a full team. Usually, you said that usually there's a team you don't like and there's a team you like. For me, there's usually a team I like, but there's usually like 20% of the models I don't like 2 of them or 3 of them. Yeah. And I like all of the vampires here. I think they all look good. This would be a set I would get. Yeah,
likewise.
In all honesty, I would even be tempted to try and work our way of using a couple of these sets to make a Soul Blight Gravelord army.
Yeah, easy. Oh, that'd be easy peasy. I mean, there's so many units. I mean, is it the vampires that are werewolves effectively? Ready made, right? Just
and just drop them straight in.
Don't need to do a thing with them.
No, not really. Because honestly, I really like the Soulblight Gravelords. I've really come to like them. I think the Mother of Nightmares is just an amazing character, and the idea of how those weird monster vampires see themselves and have actually quite a lot of nobility about them.
Yeah, I like that too. I particularly like. I can't remember the name of the blood. Is it the Valkyr? The ones that are they're the ones that are werewolves, effectively.
Yeah.
I love the notion of them. The fact that their vampirism doesn't derive from Nagash. That's really fascinating to me. It comes from like the spirits that they worship, the animal spirits of the realms. That is really cool.
Yeah, just God damn it. I would never have thought that the vampires would be an army that I started looking at and going, I really want to do that.
Yeah, I like what they've done with them, and I really like the way. I like the way it echoes what happened to the undead early on in Warhammer when you had this dissemination into the vampire counts, right? And the vampire bloodlines. I like that an awful lot. An awful lot.
It's just taking that to the nth degree, isn't it? And really running with the idea of how the bloodlines work. Really
going like hell for leather with it, right? Yeah. Doing away with the slightly duller original vampire bloodlines and expanding into something a bit more mythological. Yeah, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I mean, there's only two that survive now, aren't there, from the original bloodlines? And those are the Larmians and the von Carsteins, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the von Carsteins are all sorts of fucked up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Vampire version of incest at this point.
Hey, love thy mother, I love thy father.
Yeah, it's not meant to take that literally. This isn't Wolverhampton.
Bloody hell.
We'll always throw in a joke at Wolverhampton. So, two really quick ones then. We've got a big tank.
As a big tank in Horus Heresy, it's a big tank.
Yeah.
How big?
It's a very big tank. It's very big.
How big?
It's a big tank.
It's a phallically big.
Yeah, it is actually one of the more phallically big tanks, but
it's an Iron Warriors tank.
Yeah, very much so. It would work very much in Iron Warriors colours. Yes,
I'm amazed. It's just not called the Penetrator heavy tank. The Penetratus.
I would say, from my personal view, I don't think it looks very cool because of how silly it looks. It's just a Land Raider with 3 guns sticking out the front of it.
It's a big tank, isn't it?
Yeah. I've seen cooler tanks. This is not one of the cooler.
It's what it is.
Like the Roggle Dawn. The Roggle Dawn was pretty good.
The Roggle Dawn.
The Roggle Dawn. The one that didn't have a bottom to it.
The one that had no bottom. Yes, so you could actually put like feet coming out the bottom if you wanted in Flintstones.
I thought that was a better looking tank. That was cooler.
It's fine. And then finally some kill team. So
once again, strong bloody showing, right, from the smaller game systems. I mean, Adeptus Arbites. Right? Everyone loves the Adeptus Arbites, right? They've been around for a long time.
I don't actually know who they are.
They're the cops. They're the cops.
Oh, okay.
They're Imperial Police, is what they are. The Adeptus Arbites are the lawkeepers of the of Imperial planets. They're the judges. They're the, like the 2000 AD mega city judges. They were based on them originally. They're effectively Judge Dredd in 40K.
Oh, that explains 100% why they look the way they do. They look very
much like Judge Dredd. Yes.
Copyright? Never heard of it. Don't worry about it. It's different.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
There's one of these that goes even further down that route. Do you guys know about martial law?
The TV show?
No,
the concept.
So, martial law was created because by somebody who thought Judge Dredd wasn't hard enough.
It wasn't fascist enough, yeah.
Pretty much. Martial law is a difficult read. I'm not saying it's bad, because I don't think it is bad, but it's a difficult read. It gets bad. After a point, it gets unreadable for multiple reasons. But there is a singular guy, and it's a guy with the studded full plate mask and the great big truncheon, who looks like martial law.
Oh, the BDSM guy, yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
And all he needs is
with the cuffs. He's got cuffs. That's very cool. That's very cool.
And I'm going to go out that somebody, as a joke, went, well, we all know that these guys look like Judge Dredd.
Yep.
Let's get what looks like martial law.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, these literally. I mean, they make no bones about it. These were based on the Judges from 2000 AD when they were originally created.
Yes,
they made no bones about it. They even have like the one shoulder with the eagle. I mean, like it's overt, isn't it?
I'm shocked they don't have one guy who's very slightly Stallone looking.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. But it's nice to see them back and to see them updated. And they're really good. They look great.
Unless you shit at panel lining, you're going to have a hard time making these look nice if you do them in black.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with a fully black like palette, isn't it? You got to be good at panel lining to get the shading looking nice. But they do look good. The Evan Metal team make it look nice.
Yeah, you do make it look good. I mean, black is very difficult to paint because it always ends up coming out looking blue or grey, But these guys, I mean, they've done a great job. They look fantastic. Really, really nice. When was the last Adeptus Arbites release?
I'd never heard of them.
It must have been the original ones, Adam, right?
Yeah, it's metal, yeah.
So way back when.
Was that Necromunda? Because I can't imagine these being in like normal.
No, they were in 40K. They were in 40K. Part of the Imperial Guard, yeah. And I think you could take them as Sisters of Battle originally as well.
That would make sense.
I'll see if I can find.
But it was a long time ago. I remember them coming out.
I've got a feeling that there has been like a smattering somewhere.
Oh, has there? As part of a, maybe Andy was right. Maybe in one of the other game systems, like Necromunda, because there are Arbites on Necromunda.
Oh,
there are Arbites on almost every Imperial world. They're the cops, right?
I'm just having a look now, but I can't see any other release for them. But I'm sure there was.
What do you think of the doggo?
I was going to say the doggo's great.
He is awesome. His name is Bruno.
Did they have a special, silly name for them? For dogs?
Well, they weren't part of the Adeptus Arbites originally, but I'm sure they do now.
Okay, because I thought, the Adeptus Dogicus would be a good name for them.
The goodest Dogicus. Goodest boyus.
I think it's neat because I like the idea that someone blows your dog up and they're like, no, I love my dog so much, I'm going to make him a robot dog now, and he's going to kill you now for killing him.
I think Cyber Mastiff is a thing, though, isn't it?
Is it?
It's I think it can either be used for service animals like this, or for people who just don't want to let their dog go.
Right.
So, as the dog gets older, it just gets more and more cybernetic.
I'm shocked that they haven't added a gun or a flamethrower to the dog.
On its back or something. Yeah.
Maybe that's for the Imperial Guard. Maybe the Imperial Guard do that. Actually, no, the Imperial Guard probably have implemented the bomb dogs from World War II.
Yeah. I just like the fact that its handler has a leather leash, as though that's going to do anything. Look at this thing.
The dog knows. The dog remembers from when it wasn't a robot. He is the goodest boy.
This dog does not need a fucking gun, because that thing has big metal jaws, and when Bruno comes running at you, your only thought is going to be, oh well, looks like it's curtains for me. I had a good run.
I don't know. I wonder if it's just a death mask and it just headbutts you to death.
It just headbutts you, yeah.
Yeah, it headbutts your kneecap, so your knee breaks inward, so you fall to the floor, and then it just keeps headbutting your face until it's smush.
It's a whole lot of dog, and it's a whole lot of metal on a whole lot of dog, isn't it? Yeah. So it's going to hurt when that hits you.
He's a big boy.
He's a big dog as well.
Yeah.
This is great. Which means
I can see that being Miniature of the Year, actually. When we do the fluffies, that's going to be in there.
I'm really worried that there's going to be a tournament somewhere in 40K or for Games Workshop where they only allow the pet animals to fight. It's going to be Blood Bowl, but it's going to be Blood Pets.
Brilliant. I think that's a great idea.
Crab versus dog. Who wins?
Crab versus dog versus little servitor cleaning the sword.
I'll say that we got a dog in an early version of Kill Team as well, didn't we, with the Breaches?
Oh, yeah, God.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
I think it was actually earlier than that. So this means that there are now 2 Cyber Mastiffs out there.
Oh.
I want to start like a dog-only army. I want a doggo army.
maybe that's what that last Arcs of Omen will be.
Arcs of Omen dog.
Barks of Omen.
Hey.
Obviously. I mean, come on.
Can we have like an Easter special model of like a chicken and a rabbit? One's a cybernetic chicken, and the rabbit, the chicken's a ride, like the chicken riders from back in day.
El Pollo Diablo.
Yeah, that could be the Easter special. There you go.
It would have to be a demon chicken.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, you said El Pollo. It just clicked.
Yeah,
I'm
El Pollo Diablo. Yeah.
It just looks like a normal chicken, just with red eyes. Like that one episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog where the chicken comes from space.
Oh, it'd have to be a Lord of Change, obviously.
I thought you could have said Lord of Chickens.
A Lord of Chickens, yeah. A Lord of Change. Yeah, brilliant.
There is a tiny Lord of Change in the Warhammer Quest. And he is an actual Lord of Change. He has all the powers of a Lord of Change. He's just very tiny.
He's just really small, yeah.
Oh, Mr. White says the police officers, I'll just say police officers, were back in 1994 and before 91.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, I actually forgot about the 91 release.
I remember the 94 release. I do remember them. Yeah, they look just like Judges.
Yeah, I've thrown a picture into the group chat. Not the Discord one, because that would have made sense, wouldn't it, Adam? But yeah.
But no, those are lovely.
Also, some smelly space elves in the box, I suppose.
They're Drukhari.
Yeah, smelly space elves.
They're lovely. I mean, they're a bit generic. Again, they look a bit like, apart from 1 or 2 examples, they look pretty much like, Cabalites from the box.
Yeah, fine.
But some of them are really lovely. I love, where is he? The one with a bird.
I like the one with the tube in his nose. He's so silly.
Yeah, he's got some combat drugs going on there.
I see the one you're talking about. I really like his bird. His bird's very cool.
I also like the one with the hair. The one with the hair is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I am sure I met him at a goth night in Newcastle in the early 2000s.
Isn't he in that video where they're all dancing under a bridge with gas masks on? That meme video.
Thomas the Tank Engine video,
I think he is. Why does one of them have like a almost Space Marine Emperor-styled, Roman-styled mask on? It's on the same image that has the guy with the long hair.
Oh, it's from the racks, I think.
It reminds me of like a Roman-style design, almost like some of the Blood Angels, jetpack boys, whatever they're called.
I think you can
actually thought he stole a face from a Stormcast Eternal.
I think you can infer that he's had some work done by the homunculi. I think that's what you meant to infer from that.
It does look like there are weird tendrils growing out from underneath the armor.
Wow, that wouldn't surprise me.
Mm.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Maybe that's the thing with him. But no, they're nice. They're very nice. They're not as distinct as the Arbites are. They look a bit too much like the Cabalites from the box. But there's some nice stuff in there. There's some nice stuff. Oh, I've just noticed the guy, the one with the wire in his nose and the injector pistol.
That's right, yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So he looks like an agent of the homunculi, like he's testing chemicals or something. Are these
all new models, or is this like the Necrons where it's updated ones like this, a new sprue to just slap onto dudes?
I think so. I'm not sure. Some of them do look very much like the models from the Cabalite sprue, but I don't know.
You see the one with the guy with the tube up his nose?
Yeah.
So we'll call him Lord Tubica.
Oh.
The one next to him, now he looks like a really old miniature.
He does. I think
head, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
I think that one is just, from the sprue.
Good, because I'd be really annoyed if it was only the Necrons that got put in these box sets, and it was only them that had the old models with a slight update sprue. I'd be like, fuck's sake.
That would be mean, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be typical.
But Drukhari, I'm always excited about Drukhari. I like Drukhari.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So would you buy the set, George? Because you kind of like the policeman. Would you
actually
take the police officers and make them like cultists?
I'd make them into racks.
Oh, okay.
I'd turn them into racks for the Drukhari. That would be fun.
I actually don't think I'd do anything with them. I think I'd just have them as abites. I really like them.
Yeah, they are nice. They're a really, really lovely thing. And I can see them turning up somewhere in 40k, definitely. Maybe as part of the Imperial Guard, or the Sisters of Battle. They'd be good in the Adeptus Sororitas. They'd work, It'd
be nice to see them again. I like the fact they've all got the nice little button-up shirts underneath their armor.
They look very smart. Yeah. They do.
Right, well, that's the lot. That's everything that we were going to talk about today.
Fabulous. That was great fun. Great fun.
I've thoroughly enjoyed. I honestly thought that nothing was going to beat the giant Primaris guns, but fucking Box of Omen. That's
Box of Omen. Yeah. I can't get over those Space Marine guns. They're brilliant. I cannot.
I'm so glad we're all on the same page there and just laughed hysterically at them for 20 minutes. So yeah. So with all that being said, then Andy, where can people find you if they desire your blood?
Well, I'm dead, so they can't have any.
I was going to say, Andy hasn't got any blood, as it's all congealed.
No, he does. It's just in jars on the side.
Right, I see.
I'm more cultured than that. They're in little baggies in the fridge.
Blood culture.
Oh, yes. Better than a jar, isn't it? You can find me on Twitter and YouTube as Decayed Andy, as in a rotten corpse, rather than a 10-year period. Where Twitter, Decayed Andy. I'm also on the Moonbase 2 podcast where I talk about Transformers each and every week, and you can find me in the same places, apart from on YouTube, which is Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast. Yeah.
Excellent. And George, where can people find you if they wish to summon you under a dark moon sky?
You can find me over at the YouTube channel, Exaggerated Elegy. There's also a new YouTube channel doing the rounds at the moment, part of the My Life in Horror project, which is called Our Lives in Horror, which is going to be interviews with various people from the horror creative community, so writers, filmmakers, artists, etc. There's several videos up there now. You can find links to all of my published fiction over at strangeplaygrounds.com and also at my Amazon author page, which is George Daniel Lee. And if you fancy a chat, you can come and find me over at Twitter at Enigmatic Elegy.
Excellent stuff. As for myself, you can find me on Twitter at Grufflock, and you can find this show on Twitter at the Fluffenhammer. You can find me on Instagram under AD Nickel. You can find the show on Instagram under the Fluffenhammer. You can find me on Facebook, but you've really got to try. You can find the show on Facebook under the names the Fluffenhammer as a group and as a page. Come and join us. We have a Discord as well. The Discord is lovely. The Discord is full of people telling me not to buy Beast Box.
Why were they telling you not to buy them?
I'm saying they were trying to get me to buy them.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I was going to say.
Right.
In a roundabout way by saying, no, Adam, don't do it.
You were being sarcastic, weren't you?
I was like, I don't believe people wouldn't want you to spend money. That doesn't sound like the internet.
No, that doesn't sound like the internet at all, does it?
But the Discord is such a really lovely place. It's like, whenever I've never had to really step in as an admin in that Discord. It's always just been a load of people talking in a nice way, having fun, being sensible. It's lovely. Makes
you
me happy.
Should write to some sort of like Internet Guinness World Book of Records or something, because that surely is a unique phenomenon on the internet.
Well, it's one of the things I love about the Fluffenhammer in general. There's only been twice in its entire existence I've had to get the banhammer out.
Yeah, it's a good community.
In 7 years, that's not bad going. Not bad going at all.
It's a very good community.
You can also find my work at adnickel.weebly.com, where the first book of Eramis is out now to download, and I am at work on the second one. I have just done a roadmap of all of the concepts I have in my head. So I wanted to see how many there were. And there's 8. I've got concepts for 8 games.
Wow.
Shit.
A lot of work. It's a lot of work.
But one of them involves a card-based monster-making mechanic.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So when you enter a room and you've got monsters to fight, it's not just 10 rats or whatever. It's you pull out 1 card and then attributes depending on the monster's level. So
that's fun. That sounds a good, fun, fun mechanic. I like that.
So no one steal. Original idea. With all that being said, we are out of here. Thank you so much to Andy and George.
My pleasure, man. Always.
And thank you so much to the live studio audience and to the dead studio audience.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Thank you to everyone at home who's been listening, if indeed you still are. Good night.